Check 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3. Welcome or welcome back. I am your most effervescent host, Michael DiNicola. Here I draw things, as you can see. I like to start top of the show by showing you one of the sketches that I've either most recently drawn or posted up on social media as a little bit of a breakdown, so you can see what my art looks like, what I draw on stream. Therefore, if you have any questions, you could just ask away. The chat exists for a reason, and if you are on any of the platforms I think I'm on, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, simultaneously. So if at any moment as I work on Procreate, then even not necessarily Procreate, you don't have to, it could just be a general art tip. You might have a question about anatomy or style or inking, or I'll be honest, I'm probably not going to be your boy if you're looking for colorist tips. I'm kind of generally not that guy. Colors, a little bit of a skill I need to work on. And by a little bit, I mean it's a skill I need to work on. Okay. Coffee sipped, water sipped, spiel done. Also thank you to my patrons. Thank you my Twitch subscribers, and anybody who's been super generous on YouTube. You guys are amazing. Thank you. This is a sketch that I finished. I finished this a couple weeks back, but I only just got to uploading it on TikTok and Instagram Reels and all that late last night, like 3 or 4 a.m. And I showed the references that I used on that particular piece. It was actually 2 different references I found off Pinterest. I usually have Pinterest up while I'm drawing. I'll show you guys right now. This is usually what my Pinterest looks like. It's a combination of thirst trap photos, goth girl stuff, and just cool art. Lots of character design, some fun background, some comic art, some just kind of like weird, freaky, I don't even know what this is. Photography. Oh, great colors, great color palette. Anyway, it's a mix and mash of all kinds of things. And what ends up happening is sometimes I'll see any old, so I might be inspired to recreate this image. I might be inspired to use this color palette. Might be inspired to eat these chips. No, I don't eat, no sun chips. Sun chips have that thing in it that makes you doo-doo, right? Blue snake, that's cool. That might be something, like, oh, so maybe like, okay. So like, just even right now, talking to you guys, I'm like, okay, what if I'm gonna sketch a witch or a demon or elf or something, and she's rocking this outfit in this color scheme, and she has a familiar that's a blue lizard. But I'd probably make it a lot bigger. But actually, to be honest, that's actually not too dissimilar from something I sketched recently. Where are you? There you go. I did relatively recently just sketch a girl with a giant snake familiar. So if I were to do that again, a little bit of the samesies, a little bit more of the same, and I like to mix it up when I can. Oh, you know what I fucking forgot to do? I started making a to-do list for myself to do before stream. So actually you can see it's like, here, hit the button, get the thumbnail done, yada 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 yada. You know what I realized? Webcam calibration. God. So for example, the colors here are all jacked. They're all fucked up. Let me see if maybe I'll use a white. You know what? Yes, I'll use this image. I'll let this one be what I use to calibrate the colors. I configure. I'll shut off white balance because the white balance is what it is, and I'll shut off the autofocus and the auto exposure. So there you go. Now my hands look a little grimy. That's not what they look like. This is what they look like. Hello, Snow Rip. Now let's see how this looks. All right, a little bit more red in the color scheme than I'd prefer, but not too shabby, not too shabby. Let me try another one. Here, let's go orange. Let's see how the oranges look. Again, the oranges look, the image is a little bit more orangey red, so there's a, I guess, yes, the orange closer to yellow side of the spectrum of red is kind of tinting this. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. The image on the left, that blood, that like vivid blood red is not the color that I'm seeing before you right now. The color is actually a more dulled version of the color that you're seeing in the left side of the screen. Listen, I can't win with these devices, man, so you're just gonna have to make your mind up. This one's interesting. Because this one actually is a little bit closer to the one on the right. One on the right's a little bit closer than the one on the left. Oh, listen. All right, just one more, just out of curiosity. Yep, nope, neither one are right on the money. Actually, the closer one is the one on the right, but it's really a combination. The yellow is way more bright and vivid in the screen on the left, and that's kind of what the actual background looks like. Her t-shirt and the color pattern is closer to the one, closer to the webcam than is the actual iPad screen itself being captured. Oy vey. Oy vey. Snowrip, what's up with you, buddy? All right, you know, let's should we finish this up? Look at those tickle bitties. Finish this up or do a warm-up? Finish this up or do a warm-up sketch? Let me sip my coffee on it. Oh, that's funny. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum. Okay, I got it. I was gonna go for a sexy warm-up, but we're gonna go for a sad warm-up instead. Here we go. Knuckles cracked. I'm hot again, because of course I am, because what would a stream be if I didn't break out into a sweat all of 3 minutes into the damn stream? Okay. Let's do this, you motherfuckers. Here we go. Here we go. Like I said before, I start things off gestural. I start things off gesturally. And I work on form simultaneously, which is again not the way in which this is meant to be done. There is definitely a more proper artsy way to go about doing what I am doing. However, I did not receive proper formal arts educationes, so I just kind of do what feels right. More often than not, if you're wondering what I'm up to, generally it's me playing it by ear. I took an English class once upon a time, and the professor, she was like, the way we speak more often than not is actually fucked up and wrong. Like, as far as like proper grammar is concerned. So her advice was actually just because something quote unquote sounds right in your head doesn't mean it actually is right. So she warned us to, like, yeah, you guys learned wrong. So in your head, when you're like, oh, that doesn't sound right, or that does sound right, more often than not, your barometer's fucking broken for what sounds right and what doesn't. I thought that was interesting. However, for art stuff and me, it's kind of the opposite. At least I've found. I kind of go with my gut. And at this point, I kind of trust my gut. And however, I can't, in good conscience, tell you guys to do the same necessarily. I've studied anime. I've never actually studied anime. I've only just recently started watching anime within the last year. Now, I have studied anatomy long enough that I have a general idea of how it all pieces, how the body pieces together. Not perfect. I'm no fucking Da Vinci, but who is? But you know, like I said, I'm competent. I'm both, I believe, competent and confident enough in my capabilities as an illustrator that I kind of trust my sense of proportions and two-dimensional physicality on paper, right? So I'm able to draw this. I'm able to draw this off the top of my head without needing any reference, and I adjust as I go. So, you know, I go, oh wait, shit, is that limb too long? Or, you know, oh, where would this be? What would this limb look like? And then, you know, after that, after, you know, get the bone set down, and then you think, oh wait, well, all right, now then you gotta think of, like, honestly, the hardest part can be the end, like the very end of the line stuff as far as anatomy is concerned, like the advanced level anatomy, is when you start taking the not just the bone structure and proportions into account, but when you start morphing the limbs to how they would look as they were being pushed together, right? Because you got to keep in mind your fat and muscle and all that. Even the way it's drawn looks differently. I'll show you guys right now. The arm, right? So you think, oh yeah, arm like this. But when I push my together, right? You see that fat bulge? You see that butt crack looking bulge, right? So even that, the way your body looks like, you see that bend there? Just little things like that, right? Or where the way the flesh and fatty and muscular parts of your leg look when the leg is kind of pushed in on itself when you're crouched, right? Versus the way you draw the leg when it was extended. It'd take a more rounded, bulbous feel, and there'd be parts of the muscles that are pushed out, and also you have to take into account the contrapposto always, how your body reacts when it's pushed to one side or the other, where your neck goes, you know, and also like the head's three-dimensional relation to the torso, right? Because all of these are technically possible, but if you draw a person, like I might be drawing like this, and my head is, you know, just bad posture. But if you draw a head like this, where the neck is hidden, it could be technically accurate based on the photo that you're referencing, but it's going to look like dick. People are going to say, yo, my man, give that motherfucker a neck. Does your character have no neck for a reason? Is there a narrative reason as to why your character that you're drawing has no fucking neck? It's like, well, I was using a picture for reference. That's a whole other thing. I actually talked a little bit about references and the use of references in the TikTok and Instagram and YouTube video I dropped last night. Usually when I put together a video reel like that, what I've been doing, what I like to do, is try to maybe offer a little bit of advice to anybody watching. Not a lot, you know, I've only got 30 seconds to give advice, but I'd like to just give a little bit of a tip or two, just a quick one. And the tip I gave last night when I was drawing was for newer artists, be very weary of how often they rely on reference. Now, obviously there are caveats to that, because depending on what you're trying to attempt to do. So like, I'll give you an example right now. That same advice to a portrait artist who is trying to capture someone's likeness is just about completely nonsensical, right? Portrait artist, put down that reference. Ridiculous, just absurd. But to a person who might be doing character design or comic books, the thing about doing comic books and that kind of stuff, where you're repeatedly drawing different things over and over and over again, or different characters over and over and over and over again, you might not be able to land or find the reference that you need for that specific situation, for that specific panel. Then what do you do then? You know, what do you do when you can't find the reference for what you need exactly? A lot of artists, what they do is they use themselves as reference. But even that will have its limitations. So my advice generally in regards to that is try to get your brain to learn to fly on its own, right? You want to get that part of your brain developed, trained like a muscle, pretty much. Right? Have you guys ever broken a bone or anything like that? Because I've fractured my ankle when I was a teenager doing stupid shit. I was fucking around, took a tumble, fractured my ankle up. I was in a cast for however many weeks. It wasn't too bad. I didn't need surgery or I didn't need any surgery or screws or anything in my leg, but it was fractured, my ankle, and I did have to be on crutches for some time while it healed up. And when I removed the cast, the doctor's like, "Oh man, it's gonna be funky. Check this out." When they remove the cast, your leg, due to the atrophy, is like 1/3 to 2/3 of the size it was. And it's because that leg has literally been doing nothing those last 6 weeks. And it's fucking, you need to get that leg back on track. And the reason I bring this up in regards to referencing and your brain, you have to train that much like the atrophy setting in on a body part that isn't used. You got to train your brain to just turn off the reference, just to not be so afraid of flying without. And then, you know what, here's the thing, you might fuck up. I mean, actually, depending on how new you are at art, you're just about guaranteed to fuck up, but that shouldn't stop you. Because you know, listen, learning from your failure, man, that's one of the best ways to learn. Was it Graham Bell or one of those old inventors who you know, they were talking about how they invented I believe it was a light bulb, so maybe it was Edison. They asked about the light bulb, even though he stole it and all that shit. The phrase still holds true. And he was like, if he had failed 1,000 times all that failure was he'd only learned 1,000 ways in which the light bulb doesn't work. What's up, Whale Rider? Hello, everybody. I like that reference video. Thank you, Rogers. Hey, better start time. I'm doing figure drawing practice every day at the moment. It's helping. Excellent, Scoob. Where are you going for your figure drawing references? That's different, by the way. Figure drawing references are excellent. Excellent, especially if you're trying to really learn the anatomy. I will say a little tip, something I learned doodling. Let me see if I could pull up a reference. Let me see if I could pull up a reference for myself to show you guys. Let's see, we got some butt cheeks. You know what? I'm just going to Google anatomy. Not Google. I'm going to put anatomy in Pinterest. And I'm just going to grab one. Here we go. We got a guy here. Here's the anatomy reference I'm going to use. All right, here we go. We got a guy doing whatever the hell he's doing. So that's when we use as reference. I'm going to only do this for about 2 seconds because I want to show you guys something. So you spend, also, by the way, very important to generally keep yourself on timer, to keep yourself focused and on point. So we got a guy, his head is slightly tilted up. It's at a 45-degree-ish angle. His shoulders. So his head is pointed this way, shoulders that way. Torso bent like so, hips this way, contrapposto baby, and then I'm just going to stop there. So, all right, so looking at this, picturing where the muscles are, chest here, ribs here, abdomen like so, and hips like it said. Right shoulder is slightly tucked behind him, back hand at the forefront. Little foreshortening there. All right, so I'm just kind of taking the reference at a whole. Not really worried about likeness or any of that stuff. I'm just trying to get the anatomy of this man down. Okay. So here, here's my drawing. Here's the reference. You can see. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually flip it on the horizon, make sure that everything is symmetrical. And then this is what's good about this, by the way, for you digital artists out there, is that this gives you a way to check out your own symmetry. And I could already see that there are certain screw ups in his anatomy, not screw ups, but you know, asymmetry, we'll say, that I need to work out. Okay, so I fixed some asymmetrical hiccups. Now that you've done your 2-minute or 3-minute, however long it took me to do this reference, now what you should do, and here's a good trick: get rid of that reference, toss it aside, toss your original drawing aside. And now, do your best now to recreate what you just saw in your head, without looking at any reference. Recreate what you just saw, and it's gonna feel weird. It's gonna feel like, oh my goodness, what do you mean recreate what I just saw? But this is very important, because this goes back to what I was just telling you about. This goes back to what I was just telling you guys about in regards to training your brain to flex that muscle of kind of creativity and learning to adapt and adjust and figure out the aspects of anatomy, even if you don't have reference. The way you get to that is by doing stuff like this. Now, obviously, this is going to be a little bit off. Clearly, I don't want to spend all day here. And then what you do is you compare and contrast. So here, this is close enough. So let me move this over here. And let me pull up the original with reference, and then here. Now you've got one here. Now you've got one I used for reference and one I used with no reference. And then it's like, okay, you know what? Okay, I see. This is where I fucked up. You say, okay, you know what? In this one, he was way more. His position was a little bit more dynamic. His chest was bent a little bit more, right? Right? And you could already see, like, oh yeah. But you know what? Actually, his arm was bent a little bit further back. And this is how you study. And then I'm like, oh shit, you know, it actually wasn't a couple of tweaks and I really wasn't that far off. And then if you want to take it a step further, then you stylize it and you do all your stuff. But this type of practice is much more difficult and rigorous, but worthwhile than, it's called a deliberate practice, is what it's called. And it's much better for you in the long run than just regular old practice. Don't get me wrong. Going to a website that's got a timer with anatomical poses on it and getting the reps in, excellent. I would never argue against it. It is very important to do that. I would also say it's very important for you to exercise deliberate practice in your art making, because this right here, this is gonna separate the men from the boys, the wheat from the chaff. Because what happens when the day comes where you need to draw a character in this position, perhaps with the background and all, and you can't find reference, and you need a guy who's going to be doing that kind of reaction, right? That's what this guy's doing, this, oh shit, you know? And you want that to look compelling on a panel or even in a standalone illustration. Maybe you're doing a cover or a poster or a commission or something. And maybe you're at a convention, maybe the deadline's quick and you don't have time to search the internet far and wide for this exact reference. You need to come up with something on the fly. Your brain has got to have, that's when these reps are going to come in handy. That's when you're going to be fucking patting yourself on the back. Oh, you know what? Oh, well, I don't have reference for this. Oh, but you know what? I've built up my mental library enough that I could do this. I don't reference schmeference. And then maybe if you hit a dead end, which everybody does, you could use yourself for reference, or you could find a reference for lighting or something, but you won't need a reference for everything, especially the anatomical stuff. I will say this though. As a person who's still working on their anatomy and as a person who's still kind of doing their best, this is something that takes years to get right. This is not an overnight, this is not weeks. You'll get decent over the weeks and months, but really, to get to a place where your stuff is recognized by your peers and the world at large as being competent, it'll probably going to take you years. Less depending on how many hours you put in, how much deliberate practice you're doing. You know, what might take somebody 5 years might only take you 1 if you're doing 12 to 16 hour days of hard practice drawn all the time. By the way, I know guys who have, you know, it really is the 10,000 hours of it all. It's what separates the legendary artists from the ones that are just good to okay. Let's see, Rogers coming at you from 10,000 feet. Where are you going? Snowrip, have you played Snowrip, have you been playing Elden Ring? Hey Scooby. Croquet Cafe, it's a bargain. Tried Bodies in Motion, not so good. I know Croquet Cafe's Croquet Cafe is that website, right? It's just a website with the various timers on it. I went topsy-turvy with references. My middle school art teacher was kind of crazy and hammered home the idea that references are cheating in art, which is other bullcrap. What do you mean references are cheating? Well, like I said, everything has its pluses and minuses, its pros and cons. Now, I do believe, personally, in the long run, being able to sketch without being strictly tied to reference, I do believe that's better, specifically for the kind of art that I do, comic art and the such. But like I said, man, if your whole drawing style is likeness, and even perhaps if you are one of the artists that does what's that called, that like super high def, high res, like photocopy like art, I don't even know what it's called, photo that, like, what the fuck, guys, help me out. What the fuck do you call that art where it's like, oh, this looks like a, oh, this is a hyper realism, right? Thank you. Yeah, again, I don't like that art. I think it's neat. I respect the people who are able to do hyperrealism, like effectively, or with like a big pen. Like, the dedication to their craft is astounding. It's just not my cup of tea. So yes, clearly, if that's your thing, I will never tell you to not use reference. That's just insane. But I'm talking specifically if you're trying to do the kind of art that I make, or comic art. I think in the end run, for your creativity as an artist, I believe using light reference is the best bet. So I took onto referencing poses and whatnot, but only when I got into my late 20s. Thank you for the advice. No, I don't know Elden Ring yet. It's a great game. I think it should be game of the year. Maybe even game of the last 5 years. Although I'm not the guy to ask. I haven't played many games, but this is my favorite game story-wise, next to Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, I guess I loved Spider-Man, PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. But that is a very biased personal choice. I think that was my favorite game at the time, but just because I'm a fucking giant Spider-Man dork. So, and it was really, really well told. But even I know, from like just a video game perspective, Red Dead 2 was just leagues beyond. Who's this? It's Matthew.
Buddy?
It's Matty Cakes.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm doodling, baby. I'm doodling over here.
I heard your little mini lecture about getting the anatomy of humans and the shapes down pat.
Yeah, well, honestly, dude, the shape language of anatomy, shape language, to me, that's like, if I were to start learning anatomy all over again from scratch, I would say get your proportions down first, right? Get your skeletal structure down, right? Like that's the building blocks. We're talking about the foundation of the pyramid. Proportions, skeletal structure, musculature, right? Get like all that stuff. You should know, like, again, not perfectly, but good enough, right? You should know how many heads tall a body is, generally the range of heads. Again, it can come down to a stylistic choice, but there's an approximation that's pretty standard. And then once you have a solid enough grasp on that, then the next tier is the human anatomy as told in shape form. at least this is the way I would do it. The bends.
I went opposite.
Yeah.
I learned how to draw an organism, and I don't know how to draw anything else. One of the human anatomies I learned how to draw.
Here, I'll give you.
Very
You know,
well.
here, I just saw a piece of art that's that I'll show you. Now,
Yeah, that's actually something I'm trying to figure out myself. That's what I've been practicing, is the overarching shapes more than anything.
See that? Now, this is a really cool one. You see the fluidity? You see the fluidity of this? Now, the anatomy might actually be wrong, or a little bit off, or a little wonky or weird. But in this kind of late stage professional level illustration, all the aforementioned stuff, I'm almost certain that this artist has learned it and has moved beyond it. At some point as you graduate, we'll say, you know, kind of like getting a higher education, right? Well, you got your bachelor's in whatever. You know, now it's time for your post-grad stuff, right? Now it's time for you to get your master's. When it comes to anatomy and illustration, some of the best illustrations you'll see regarding human form, they don't completely disregard the basics, but they learn to bend certain rules that can be bent and break others that can be broken, but all in the name of composition and depth and emotion and all the stuff that makes great art stand out. So although you might be able to pull this thing up and be like, oh, I see all anatomical errors left and right, or, you know, oh, her hips wouldn't bend like that, or her head is this many, if she's this many heads tall, then clearly this, you know, ankle, you know, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, that stuff kind of falls by once you get to an advanced level, that stuff really doesn't fucking matter, because the piece matters as a whole, and what the story that the illustrator is trying to tell and the emotion that the illustrator is trying to elicit, those all take precedent on top of the composition itself. So yes, but again, that's much later days. That should be, again, if you're learning anatomy, until you have got a solid grasp on the fundamentals, I wouldn't necessarily worry about this stuff too much. It should be present. It should be in the back of your head. It shouldn't be ignored. But learning how to do that kind of stuff, for me anyway, it's a little bit of it's you know, what's that phrase about putting the cart before the horse? That's it. that's what.
Yes, that phrase.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, I think it's what you're talking about is building groundwork before going deeper.
Yes.
Which I'm still stuck in this phase of like, why doesn't my Dr. Pepper can look like my Dr. Pepper can in the drawing?
That's funny. Hyperrealism, I don't like it either.
KG, by the way.
Hey, KG. Before cameras were invented, it would have been cool. So now that enemies aren't eating my face. Basically, my art teacher was over enthusiastic. She was a complete art geek and perfectionist at that, and pushed her agenda on her students. Me and my classmate references were all but banned because we couldn't rely on them and other BS. Wanted to move beyond it. Tall order for middle school students. Yeah, no, that's what middle school students. Man,
Gers.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine being a middle school student and having your art teacher be that much of a dickhead. Not even necessarily a dickhead, just that myopic, right?
Well, it's almost like the same theory like an English teacher puts behind their snobbery. But except the English teacher is backed by actual things, and the art teacher is just going off their own kind of agenda.
Right, because art is very biased. Even, you know, the tips that I'm giving you are, for the most part, I'm speaking in generalities, and I'm also speaking by my own personal experience.
And I would argue tips like that are going to come in handy in the real world more so than, you know what I mean? Like, you can Google something, but somebody with experience says, hey, you should really get this down pat. Take it as advice as far as what to focus on in your education.
Hey, girls.
Girls. Dude, I didn't know what happened. And I heard something in the Discord, and then I looked at the screen and I saw you drop the pen. And I was like, oh.
Yes.
I thought you were gonna get attacked or something. I was like, what the fuck?
They grabbed me. They grabbed me up.
I knew this was coming. The FBI is here. For what? I go to a lot of weird websites.
I mean, hopefully not with my VPN on in the Brave browser.
Right. Thanks to blank VPN, because it's not sponsored. I have to renew my VPN. I just don't know what company to go with. Like, there's only like 3 that are really trustworthy, but it's basically like, which between these 3 do I want to use?
There's Nord, private internet access. The one I use is Surfshark.
Surfshark is the other big one I heard, and then the other one that I don't want to use, but I think is ExpressVPN or something.
Express is another one. Yeah.
I would probably. I mean, Surfshark and Nord are about the same pricing. I think Surfshark's got a deal right now if you pay for the full year.
Yeah, I paid for like 2 years for like nothing. They were running a crazy deal at the time, and it was like for like fucking pennies a month, dude. It ended up coming out to like a couple bucks a month. It was so cheap.
I basically I use it when I go a bootlegging.
Sure. As you should.
And to log into Netflix from other regions so I can watch their movies.
My high school English teacher was also on a high horse and punished the entire class just because me and my roommate were uninterested in her classes. Weird. Did you hear the news that Elon Musk he just gave Amber Heard like I think like $500,000 for her ACLU stuff?
Yeah, it's because she said she's gonna donate and then didn't, and he's like, I was banging her, I should probably be nice.
Yeah, right, fucking simp.
I like how I find the Twitter shit kind of funny with him buying it. Like, the literal, like, freak out is this. Oh no, if he buys it and it's free speech, I'll have to read things I don't want to.
Yes.
And that's basically the whole argument. Like, it's gonna be the Wild West, man. People are gonna have just unrated opinions. Yeah, I know, it's called free speech.
What's up, Pharaoh?
Amber is, she really does seem like she's just fucking poison, dude. Like, even the psychiatrists are like, no, she's fake as fuck, bro.
Yeah, it's like she's manipulative and lying to you guys. She is hysteric. What the fuck was it?
Well, they were saying, the one was saying that basically she was having such she was gauging for PTSD, and that the swing of emotions that Amber Heard displayed to her had to be fake. Like, here's the normal, here's the strenuous, and then here's fake. And she was in the fake spectrum.
She's fibbing.
What's up, Bomani Pharaoh? Bomani Pharaoh. That sounds like a high-end clothing company. Do you do anything in fashion? Because just think, yeah. What are you wearing to the award show? Oh, this is a Bomani. Bomani. Gotta say it
as
right.
Much as
I would definitely look at licensing.
I don't care if Elon gave her cash. I care as much as he's a fucking simp. But aside from that, I don't give a shit. But listen, just because I like that, I like what he has claimed he's going to do over at Twitter, doesn't mean he gets to not be called a fucking simp when acting like a simp.
Don't feel bad, Bomani. I'm just a fat, hairy American. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There is an argument to be made to Johnny Depp, and it's as clear as this. What the fuck were you doing with her?
I'm thinking the pussy was just out of control, man.
Same
thing with Elon.
Yeah.
James Franco was banging her too behind Johnny Depp's back.
Well, James Franco, I mean, yeah.
Listen, who knows pussy more than Franco? That guy's a poonhound.
Seriously, he commissions it.
Yeah. So yes. Lots of guys were hopping on that train, man. Hopping on that coochie train.
But here's the thing, like, you see her in Aquaman, and it's kind of like, I understand why Johnny Depp, like, wanted her. She's gorgeous. Yes. But then you see her in real life in her weird, like, Handmaiden's Tale outfit with her sobby face. Like, well, she's got makeup on, dude. But it's way dressed down makeup. You know what I mean? Like it's...
I think she's like actively trying to make herself look uglier.
Well, not that, but he leaves the courthouse, and, like, his fucking car's got Genesis blasting. and he's like a rock star, like saying hi to everybody, and just she leaves the courthouse, and it's like, boo!
They boo
And
her.
she's
I
like,
heard.
yes, yes. Yeah, they should. She's fucking, she's a witch, man. See if she floats.
Drown her. Drown her.
If she floats, we put the cement boots on. I had this crazy concept for a skit that I'm thinking about filming, where it goes from like lighthearted to dark as fuck.
How many kids get killed?
Well, see, well, I don't know yet, to be honest with you. There's actually, so the concept, and you and I will just role play this if you're okay with it real quick.
Sure.
Just so I can just answer how you would normally. Okay, so it's like, basically you get a phone call and you answer it, and the guy is like, hi, you're on a new game show. We're doing this live. You're in front of millions. I want you to think about somebody that you hold so dear and love so much, or something. It could be a dog if you're not with any sort of spouse, or whoever you love the most. I want you to think about them. Can you do that for me, Michael?
Done. I got it.
All right. So I want you to just hold them dear in your heart and your head, and then think about this. How much would I have to pay you for you to kill that person? 500 bits. How much would I have to pay you for you to kill them?
If it's all right, if it's somebody that I truly love, can't live without, there's no.
This is the one you cannot live without.
Then no money. I would actually.
Okay, Michael, I'm sorry, you've lost this game show. We'll be contacting you again further, hence another opportunity. And that cuts the first skit, right?
Okay.
It's just me basically answering the phone, and then my voice doesn't have a face.
Okay.
But then it gets weirder. Like the next day I get emails. I get another phone call with a voicemail, and instead it's like, how much, Michael? And then that's the whole voicemail. To the eventuality where I'm trying to build to where it's going to be a surprise type ending, which I won't disclose. I have a concept in my head for how it works out. But it's going to be like sci-fi horror.
I dig it. Sounds
I think
like
I can actually
Black
film
Mirror
it just me.
type jam.
Yeah, very much. I was on the turlet, and I thought of it.
I dig it. Oh, Brax, thank you so much. Thank you. Sweet Brax. Brax taking it on home. Brax, who's got the #1 spot this month as far as the one who's tipped me as your bartender the most this month. It's been Sweet Baby Brax. Sweet Billy Braxton over there, just crushing it. Thanks again, buddy. Much appreciated. So yes, thank you to Brax, Sweaty Asparagus, and the Whiteboardists. 3 heroes of the stream this month. Let me click that. I wish it kind of gave you like a top 10.
Heroes in general.
Sure.
I know there's like widgets and shit you can download for it, or like you can somehow pump it in if you're using OBS Studio.
I do have OBS Studio. I gotta get a widget. Damn, dude.
And it doesn't matter how broke you are.
He is keeping that goal, that record.
He really is.
Yeah.
Well, Brax has been hanging out here and tipping the bartender, me, for I think honestly, dude, I think years at this point. Brax, and thank you again, buddy.
Brax, that would be pronounced sci-fi whores.
Whores.
Right? We're going for sci-fi horror, but I'd love to see some sci-fi whores as well.
Get these whores out of here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Wow, a total of, this is how many bits I've been given. 41,715 from Sweet Baby Brax over the last 4 to 5 years. Which is, yes, in American dollars, that's a little over $417. Fuck me, man.
How much in yen?
We got any Japanese out there? I almost stopped at the word
Pesos?
JAP and had to keep going. I've talked about this before. I hate that you can't abbreviate Japanese to JAP.
Well, I mean, it's all the same concept. Like, I don't understand, like, the whole, like, hey, you know, you can't call us black, or, like, hey, you know, like,
You can't say
it's
Jew.
just kind of like,
Some people say you can't say
well,
Jew.
it depends on how you
It's
say it,
context.
I guess.
It's all about context. If I was like, yeah, those dirty, and then, you know, I use the term J or Jew, or like, yeah, sure. Those no good rat, and then I use one of those terms. Of course, you can be like, all right, this guy's a fucking, this guy's unhinged.
I feel like it's one of those terms, though, where, like, the Jewish faith people do throw it around in their inner circles.
Hey, wow, another
Thought those were pesos.
Oh, those were basics.
Another 500 bits. Man, my tip jar runneth over. I almost feel like sometimes when I get bits, I almost feel like the piano man. Like like I'm playing, but instead of actually playing like a nice little ditty while you have a nice time with your lady during dinner, I'm just slinging hairy ball jokes. Like nice taint jokes, sir, and then a little here's a little something for you, and I just nod.
You got to take your
make a
bits
fart.
jar over to the coin store now. Huh?
Yeah, right. And I just make a fart noise with my mouth, and they're like, "Oh, good, very nice."
Yes, entertain us with your fart noises.
Go on, sir. Some more.
Please. You
Well-
pour a hell of an old fashioned and you make great fart noises. I love you.
Like, well done. Now do one with
Touche,
your
I thought you couldn't get better, but you have.
now do one with your hands if you don't mind.
Have you ever thought about other voices? And you're like, well, I mean, I guess. How about this one? It just gets weirder and weirder.
Oh man.
A donkey being eaten by an alligator.
What if it gets darker? Now
Yeah.
let me choke you for a little bit. What do you say?
Now, I do want to warn you, your screams are a turn on. Whoa.
Oh, dude, that's actually one of the Elden Ring characters. The creepy,
Really?
the creepy one that looks like a nun in the white face masks. He gets you
Yeah.
to scream at one point as part of his quest, and he says, "Oh, your scream is so beautiful." He says something like that. He's like, your scream sounds like heaven, sweetling. Or like sheepling, or he calls you something that's fucking weird, dude. Sounds like he's
Yeah, I
got
was
a
gonna say, either
full
any
rod.
of those. Any of those, I'm out. That's a little weird.
Let me see. I'm gonna find it exactly.
I just want to watch you sleep with your scream. Everything is just emulating Devil May Cry, though. I'm sticking with that opinion.
Let's see. Sweet scream.
Oh no, Michael, if you play it, you might get strucken.
I walked into your scream is so beautiful.
Ah,
I don't want to get struck.
yes, well.
I remember the J thing was an abbreviation for a certain personality type, the Jewish American princess. Yes, I know that one, but that's not what I was talking about. Also, thank you again,
What?
Brex. 3,000
I didn't
bits
know
just
that
like
one.
that. And by the way,
You gotta
about
bone up on my bigotry, I guess.
well, it's a northeastern thing generally. Like because dude, Jewish people are way more rare than you might think. So generally, the Northeast, there's a good lot of them. Calling a lady, like there are plenty of Jewish people I went to school with out here. There's a large Jewish population. Just in Queens in general, there's a large Jewish population. So I did hear the term Jewish American princess a ton because there were some very attractive Jewish gals who definitely thought very highly of themselves in high school.
Gerz's comment is almost like in Jurassic Park, where it's like they were real. Existed. Like she has to whisper that she's out of fear. Like they still say some roam these halls. Yeah, I honestly had never heard that. I mean, where I live, there wasn't a big concentration of them, but like when we would go to like Skokie and Niles and those areas, that was kind of where that community was. But yeah, no, I went to an urban school, so the other ones I'm all very familiar with, and I've also been called everything you can think of, because I went into predominantly Hispanic grammar school, and then my high school. Yeah, I mean, when I say predominantly, I mean there was like 10 whiteys, couple black dudes, and the rest were Hispanic. That's why all my friends, best friends to this day are all, Giovanni, Lewis on the podcast, Alex, they're all Puerto Rican, and that was my crew. So yeah, I'd honestly never heard that one. Were they like awful, just pieces of shit? Like were they all Kardashians essentially?
I mean, no, but like, listen. Some Jewish kids that I grew up with, were kind of stuck up dickheads. The girls and the guys, not all. For every like Jewish person who I met that was like up their own ass, thinking that they were fucking God's gift because they were like an only child that their parents did nothing but praise. There was a fucking like a pal. There was for every one of those there was 10 dudes who you just fuck around. Like you wouldn't even know that they were whatever. They would just be fucking same as you or me or any fucking chill person in the chat. Fine, but there's this one kind of person that yeah. So like there's a certain like all stereotypes. They're not all fucking set in stone, and it's not a catch-all phrase for every single person of a sect. But the stereotypes exist because there are a few people more often than not that act a certain way. So yes, there were a few Jewish people who earned the title Jewish American Princess that I knew, but it wasn't that much of a pejorative. It was just kind of a tease. It wasn't that big of a deal, at least in my day.
See, I grew up with Latina girls, which were infuriatingly attractive, especially in my adolescence.
Yeah, no,
I've always been a big kid, so it was yeah, I don't know, that's what I'm used to. But I mean, the way Gers talks is it was now she says they were accustomed to being treated with respect. It could change the stuck up for some in some people. Now, were these like
wait, Bomani,
were they just like spoiled like children?
Sometimes they might be spoiled. I've been to your stream a handful of times this year because of time zones. I noticed the usual suspects ain't here. Has something happened? Who specifically? To my knowledge,
I would imagine Eric and Bale and Skullbash.
Well, Skullbash comes on later at night, usually when he's free up. He's usually these days he's usually working during the day. Nikki is generally working or streaming or hanging out with Joe or Jake. But like she was here.
It is date night for Nikki.
Yeah, so like she was here just the day before yesterday. She was hanging out. Kennedy is he's got work stuff going on, and I was text messaging the dude almost every day. No, so we're all so if it's any of those people, we're all good. Riri, I'm gonna be on Riri's doing a podcast, and I'm gonna be on Riri's podcast soon. She hasn't given me a set date yet, but I agreed.
What's it about?
I don't know, man. She said she wants funny streamers on, which was I thought funny because I don't know why she was asking me, but
you're a funny streamer.
Funny looking.
You got those comedics. Whoa, see, that's the self-deprecating humor. I love
That's
it.
what I do.
Love it.
I make with the yucks. So yes, she was very sweet and asked me to be on.
Very nice.
Let's see, Riri girl and that Bulgarian guy with the big dick. Yeah, Bale. I'll be honest. I don't know. Bale posts in the Discord every day. He usually sends me DMs and stuff. I'm assuming he's asleep right now. Let's see. Yeah, what time is it out there for you guys? What is it? 1 a.m. 1:30 a.m.
Central time.
Yeah, no. Bale likes to go to bed. No, he's in European time. That I think he's GMT. Alexa, what time is it GMT?
It's 7:27 p.m.
GMT. God damn it.
Alexa's like, you want to do DMT? What?
Yeah, God damn it.
I cannot add Molly to Amazon cart.
It's 12:30. It's about 12:30 a.m. GMT. So yeah, Bale's normal rhythm is like a circadian rhythm. That dude falls asleep at like 10 p.m. And wakes up at like 7 a.m. to go to the gym and get beefy.
Baby.
It's GMT plus 2 here, and it's 2:30 a.m. Yeah. So yeah, no, I think no. There isn't, to my knowledge. I can't speak on behalf of anybody who isn't here, but everything is a-okay, I think.
It would appear Mike has not seen the anti-Michael D. Nicola Discord we all created.
Oh man, I wish I got popular enough to be called like names by strangers on Twitter.
You know, like, so I have the one podcast, In Nothing We Trust, which we talk about politics, which I try to like keep out of every other thing, you know, like, but I like to think of myself as like a center, you know, like I'm very much, I feel in the middle. So like we were talking the other day, and it's like, I don't know, man, we're getting to the point where like this may get us in trouble. And my thought is like, well, we're not getting a super amount of views right now, so like if we got in trouble, it would at least be exposure.
Sure. Hey.
Like I'll go fucking fund my own website if I have to get my content out there. I don't give a shit. I don't, you know, like, dude,
sometimes
I like Twitch and YouTube and all that, but like I can do it.
Sometimes trouble for a early streamer or like early day streamer or content creator, some of their trouble is great exposure.
That was kind of our thing, and like the only thing I really am super conscious about, because I feel like if it's an opinion, and the nice thing is there's two of us, so the balance is like him and I have had arguments because he's a little bit hard, he's more right leaning than I am. So him and I have had arguments over that sort of shit, and it's like I like to there should be several opinions, and I like to feel I bring kind of the midpoint, and he's a little bit right on some areas, but he's also more left-wing on things like policing and things like that. He considers himself a libertarian, but I don't know about the Libertarian Party right now, where I think they're kind of divided.
Libertarians are a weird group, man.
Right now.
There's like because they've got because the super hard libertarian is like, dude, roads should be privatized. There shouldn't be any kind of like IDs. There shouldn't be a thing. Like state IDs shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, they have that whole. It's as close as you can get to one of the citizen things. I'm not driving. I'm traveling. Those people.
Right. Yeah. Driver's license shouldn't be a thing. It's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild group of people. But like I said,
there's like two sects. There's like a weird kind of almost right-leaning section of it, and then you have like your purists, and then everybody else who claims it, but I don't think fully understands it.
Yeah, it's usually what I generally, because people also feel so strongly about, like it's because...
Yeah, politics are weird like that, where it's like, really? Really? You don't like my guy? It's like, dude, it's not a boxer that you sponsored. It's a fucking political candidate.
But they treated not even like a boxer that they help raised
them from the mud. They raised them in their own home. They brought them in from the street.
Right. Yeah, no, it's that
weird, dude.
It's that level of like intense. So like again,
sovereign citizens, yes.
There are people in here who've been on here who are Christian, who are 100% pro-life, and have similar concepts around devout that are generally believed by devout Christians. Like, I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty, but you guys generally understand.
I do love that argument, because being in the center, it's like, the argument is, well, I'm pro-life, and the anti-argument to that is, well, what do you want, more kids in the foster care? And I'm in the middle, like, you really don't have any right to tell them, but you couldn't use protection? That's just where I am.
I'm at the let people do whatever the fuck, like, like if you don't if you don't like
rabbits,
if you don't if you don't want that kind of thing, well then don't get one. But you also don't get to tell other people how.
Oh, for a second I thought you meant don't get a child. Like you're just like don't get one like it's a dog.
Don't buy
one. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, when they try to
if you don't want one, don't go to the child store.
Yeah, when they try to hand you off one, you just say no thank you. Or geez.
Listen, I understand I just birthed that thing, but the way I look at it is it's your problem now. I'm gonna go. Good luck taking care of it.
You don't have a Reddit hate thread yet? No, I'm a small potato, too small potato for that kind of stuff.
Remind me to create one, and I'll just put really like just incorrect information out there.
Roads should be privatized.
Michael Cola hates the smell of babies' foreheads.
I wonder what could go wrong there. Mad Max incoming. What's your political stance? I feel like you're a social democrat. Social democrat?
Could I be the guitar playing dude on the Mad Max wagon? Like, he was awesome.
He was shredding.
Right?
I like that. Like in the midst of all this chaos, it's like, yeah, we need some tunes, man. It's like yeah, we're spraying spray paint in our mouths, and we're screaming and killing and raping and pillaging, but like, how about a little bit of music, right?
We need to get to Gastown. DJ, play it. Do you ever see Conan's Comic-Con skit for that?
No.
Oh, it's fucking great. Check it out when you get time.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Where'd they get the amplifying electricity from? Like, what's powering that?
Yeah,
like,
right,
there was giant stack amps behind it.
Yeah, I'd never even right? Was it solar power? What the fuck?
We have power inverters from Radio Shack. It's like, what?
Social Democrat, general health care, social programs, free college, the rest is private entity. I mean, if that's what a social democrat is, at least in regards to that kind of stuff, I am definitely for that. Like state-run schools, I think should be free. Maybe take some of the fucking trillions of dollars that go to the military-industrial complex and maybe filter that into free education, so that everybody's kids aren't fucking retards, or
how about we just
or in debt, like starting
how
off
about
their
we
life.
get the budget under control for infrastructure? Like, I live in Chicago, where things are constantly delayed, and it's another $100 million of taxpayer money.
Right.
Like, let's just have accountability across the board for what our government spends.
Yeah, right. Yeah, how the fuck do they get to spend all this fucking money
on our behalf? Like, it's
then,
all on any taxpayer dollars are theoretically on our behalf, and they just fucking they give it to other nations.
Yeah,
they throw it into projects that never get done. I want to know how many canceled governmental projects, either state and or federal, that went over the $100 million mark before they cancel them.
Yeah, no,
like they just recklessly spend.
There should be a fucking receipt.
That's what my thing for a long time was. I don't mind paying taxes, but I want a receipt. I want a receipt that says, out of the whatever $4,000 you pay or whatever throughout the year, whatever your total is, there should be a list of this many hundreds went to this, this went to the school, this went to this. I have no problem paying taxes when I know, hey, it went to the local school. That's for the kids. Fucking A. Sure. But when they're pissing away billions of dollars, it's like, come on now.
Well, yeah, well, most people were like, oh, well, here's what you paid for. You paid for infrastructure stuff, bridges, roads, tunnels. You paid for fire department, police department, social services, right? Like shit that actually fucking makes a goddamn difference in your community. I feel like the vast majority of Americans would be like, sure, right?
Yeah.
You pay a little bit forward to live in this great nation. But that's not what we get at all. At fucking all.
And I think that's a general consensus on taxation too. Like, even people who are like, the IRS is theft, taxation is theft. Like, even those people, I feel like if you talk to them and you were like, hey, yeah, we're still going to charge you tax, but like, we're going to give you a list of everything that your money actually went to. Like, we will create specific funds like you have with CDs and things like that. And we will tell you where your funds are going, much like you would a portfolio for stock investing. That's how it should look. That's how you should get a goddamn revenue summary and an expenditure summary. But instead, and also, they should be publishing reports telling us as a country what they're spending. Your state should, in my opinion, every month tell you this is what we spent and why. There should be accountability. The American people should be able to hold these governments accountable. And right now, we have no control.
None. Yeah, no, we don't. We have no say so as to what our government does, especially overseas. Well, like, what a headache. Oh, Bomani asked, can I ask a question from the deep? How do Americans perceive the Ukrainian thing? I think, Matt,
depends on
depends on the American.
I mean, it depends on who you're talking to. Yeah, because like you're gonna have your left-leaning American that is gonna say we need to 100% support the Ukraine. Putin is the devil.
Yeah. I mean, some of those are generally like, let's fucking. It's time for us to fire up the machine.
Yeah, you do have some. You have a section of them. I mean, you have a weird section on both the right and left right now.
There might be some crossover.
They are all about war. Like, you have the neocons on the right want war, and the over-aggressive, almost anarchaic left-wing agenda wants war too. Like, how dare you? Frankly, for me, just kind of like I say, I try to stay center. Neither one of these countries like us. We did have, I mean, frankly, we did have, and also you go back to, you have the Obama era, where basically is when things took place, as far as when they took Crimea, and there was kind of a like, if we ignore it, it won't become a bigger problem. And here we are now. I mean, I look at it as like neither country likes us, frankly, from a pure capitalistic government, like look at like that. I feel the ties to Russia we had. I feel the ties to Russia the world has. As far as wheat production and grain and we were buying how much gas or oil. Yeah. Like the world loses more by backing Ukraine, frankly, than they do Russia, purely in a greedy, everybody for themselves sort of economic look at it. I don't know. I find there's personally weird things within the Ukraine structure, at least as far as I've looked into. The Russians, it really depends on how it escalates. If they go further than the Ukraine, you're going to have World War. If they stay just to the Ukraine, they're going to try to take the whole thing, so they can have the the Univision, or the United Front of Belarus, Ukraine, Russia. I think they're not gonna leave Ukraine till they have the whole thing.
I think so too. But I guess the other thing is that our problem?
Well, I mean, that's the question, right? I mean, the problem is NATO. Ukraine has now expressed interest, I believe, in joining NATO, and I believe NATO is expressing interest in allowing them to, which, from a Russian, from a standpoint of the Russian government, there is plausibility to look at that as aggression towards Russia.
Yes.
Because now NATO is trying to surround Russia, and they will have, bases with missiles, and so there is some credibility from Russia's side of being like, well, wait a second here.
Now wait just a dang minute.
Especially when you do read some of the history of the Ukrainians, what they did to the people who essentially went back to Russia, whether it be damming off and cutting the water supply to Crimea. So Russia's been importing water to that area of the Ukraine, or now Russia-Ukraine annex. The Donbass region being shelled because they wanted to defect back to Russia, and then Russia basically fucked them over and was like, "No, we're good. We got Crimea." So the mistreatment in that sort of regard, but realistically, as Americans, like, I don't know where we necessarily have an opinion on this. I don't know if we should. Like, who are we to tell it? Like, we've done the same sort of nasty shits Russians are doing right now. Like, we aren't a country that really has a whole lot of room to talk anything.
Here's my opinion of it, speaking as a Slavic fucker. Russia is wrong in attacking a sovereign country. There are genocides. There was genocides in the east part, many of them still on YouTube, of Ukraine, mostly on Russians for the last 8 years. I think the Ukraine has no place in NATO. I think a country like Russia can't allow itself to be non-democratic. And most of all, if both sides, East and West, want to find a peaceful solution, they would have. Thing was just brewing for years.
Yeah, I feel like the global leaders looked at this situation as like almost like somebody who had a festering ailment, but was like, if I don't look at it, it's not real. And then they ignored it more, and just, I don't know where it leads. I mean, I do feel Putin's going for the entire country. I don't think he's looking to stop anywhere anymore. I think he'll stop at the borders of Ukraine. I don't think he's going to try to go in any other countries. But I think at this point he's going full bore.
I mean, what does the Ukraine have to offer? Just hot Eastern European ladies, right?
Well, that's definitely one of the exports. And there is food production. I believe, what was it, grain and wheat are in like the whole thing of they didn't allow farmers to plant or anything. I mean, even in the U.S., they weren't allowing farmers to plant. You have things like California is doing 70% water or 70% less water on farms. So that wheat is a huge thing. I believe wheat from that region supplies like 70% of the world, or some crazy fucking number like that. I might be wrong. 2/3, man. I don't know. One of those large enough numbers to make a big fucking impact.
Shit, our Wheaties.
Yeah, you can't get your shredded wheat. You can get the frosted, no shredded wheat though. Just get frosting in a bowl.
Americans would eat it. Fucking pigs.
We would chump it up, and then when they discontinued it, we would bitch and protest.
Yeah.
Like the French protest because they're not being paid high enough wages. We protest because a fucking cereal goes out.
Yeah, Bloomberg was telling people that they shouldn't be drinking that much soda, and people were like, "Don't you fucking dare take my fucking
I didn't
soda
like
away."
Bloomberg though. Like his premise was basically like, "You need a larger one, you fat ass." Like he approached it all wrong.
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, you guys are fat fucks and can't fucking control yourself."
Listen, here's the problem. You've got nothing in your brain that tells you you've had too much of the sugar goo. So you're gonna stop. I'm gonna tell you when to stop.
I'm gonna tell you when to stop, you fatty. Listen,
Just
fatty.
like a child, I'm going to tell you exactly you know what a new lodge is? 12 ounces, you fat piece of shit. We get 1 can of cola in it. No ice.
Let's see. I live in the Balkans.
40%
in
of
former
Europe, holy
Yugoslavia. Hey, one of my best friends growing up was Yugoslavian. He fled over here due to persecution. Him and his family. I assure you, looking at the current
I have
situation,
a
that
friend in
Kosovo and
Yugoslavia, or
Bosnia
former Yugoslavia as well.
became hot thing. If they do succeed, it's going to be awful because we're next. I just find it funny that Russia views itself as the Soviet Union. They're not 1/10 of it. Going from the first man in space to Chechenians battalions being your main striking force is one heck of a fall. Yeah, right. Aren't the Ukrainians beating the shit out of them?
I am going to ask, is the Chechen, are they being used as the main fighting force, or is that basically like Russia being like, no, you go ahead, and then if they're, if we have to come in with more, we will? Like, are they just using the Chechens? I don't know. The whole fucking situation is, I don't know what's going to, man, you notice how the media cycle keeps going dark on it?
Yeah, I don't, it was
It's so
hot.
weird. Like, they just stopped talking about it.
Yeah, no. I honestly, I don't know. I don't what fucking media.
Like,
dude.
it's literally one day it's like, oh man, this is what's going on, and then you're like, holy shit, and then it's 3 days of silence because Will Smith slapped somebody.
Right. Corpo News does what Corpo News is going to do, run ads. So who knows? Who knows who's in charge and why they're choosing to or not to.
The only thing I will say about the numbers is, how do you believe those numbers? Because there are several sources on each side saying different things. Like, I honestly don't know what are real numbers on either side. And to me, I'd argue the bigger question shouldn't be like, this is how many Russians. It should be like, how many civilians have been killed? Because shouldn't that be like, despite Russia invading, shouldn't the real ideals of war crimes come up when you're talking civilians dead beyond collateral damage, agreed percentages? Because there is that. There's a certain level of collateral damage I'm sure the world governments are willing to forgive, but what's that number?
How many hot Ukrainian broads have died? That's what I care about.
I mean, hey, world needs models.
Never.
You think these Hollywood women can do it? What about the president? Is he still holding strong? I know he was on the doing like Zoom calls and shit.
Is he even coherent enough to be doing stuff?
I mean, he was an actor. I'm sure he's got his shit together. He's an actor. Mariupol is expecting severe casualties. That's what I'm saying. He's trying to go through everything. I mean, the resistance is making it hard, though. Which I find also interesting. Ukrainians are tough fucking people.
From what I've seen on Telegram, they have the best weapons. They act like mindless cunts firing full auto ammo. My point was with the bad things in the USSR. They did produce some really good things, and they've fallen far from it.
I'm not from there, so if anybody's interested, like, there's this YouTube. He's called Bald and Bankrupt. He goes into the Eastern European, Russian, those sorts of areas, and kind of just vlogs it. So I watch a lot of that because I'm over here. I'm in Chicago.
Is that the guy that they thought died?
I don't know. I mean, he had COVID where he almost died.
There was a guy.
Bomani knows it.
There was a guy who was walking around the Ukraine, cataloging things that happened, and then he went dark for a bunch of days. People were like, "Oh, that guy's dead."
Damn, I mean, he did have COVID. He was in the hospital in, I think, Bulgaria for like a month. But I do enjoy him. He's got another friend who I believe is not Swedish, Norwegian. His name's Harold Balder. But I haven't seen him in a while. Maybe he's the one they thought died. Yeah, he almost died from the coronavirus.
There were several like that, Mike. Oh, man.
Yeah, there's been a couple that go into the Eastern. I think there is one that did. Like, okay, so for instance, there's the new game Sherlock Holmes. And it's got a new one coming out, but the developers they're in the Ukraine. And so the Xbox One version got pulled from market. because they couldn't get it optimized enough, and they cannot keep working because they had to evacuate.
Well, fuck Xbox people anyway.
I've got an Xbox. I've got a PC though. So. But yeah, I guess
Yeah, right.
basically they had to evacuate, so they couldn't finish it.
Corona freaking suck, man. I had a light infection of it weeks ago. I still have a cough and shortness of breath. Damn, Rip.
Yeah.
I got you, baby. That bug got you.
I would, I don't think I've gotten it, which I don't know how I have never gotten it.
Ditto. I've managed to avoid it. I don't know how. I was running around without my mask today. In CVS. Everybody at the CVS had their mask on. And I was like, oh man, I feel like an odd duck. But nobody looked at me funny or anything. I just happened to forget my shit. Usually I just mindlessly put it on. And there was nobody was enforcing it. Nobody was like, hey, put your mask on. It was just, I think it's just here in New York, people, that's just what they do now.
I don't wear one unless I have to at this point. But you guys are
like
so on
it.
top of each other, though.
I like it. It does. I mean, I don't know how. I'll be honest, man. I never understood how protective it is or isn't. But it's got to be it's got to be somewhat protective, right? I mean, I got the N95s.
I mean, the N95 is your best bet. No, actually, those have the filter in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're actually filtering things out. I mean, basically anything short of that and beyond are just protecting you from like arterial spray.
Don't spray me down, Clark.
My thing is just like I don't know. I'll be in a place where people have masks on, but they're like purposely really close to each other talking. Like I'll go to Sam's Club and they're wearing masks and they're like in the middle of the aisle huddled, these old women just chit-chatting, and it's like,
huddle up, ladies.
What's the point? What's the point, ladies? You're right next to each other.
Yeah, they might as well just be spitting in each other's old raggedy mouths.
I don't know how I haven't gotten it. Like I don't know. Like early on I was probably more concerned with it, but like I don't really worry about it anymore. It is what it is at this point.
Let's see.
I wouldn't want it though, and I wouldn't wish it upon like Fabian had it, and he was pretty fucked up for a while.
Lasts about 9 days for Romani. It is indeed, it's not a walk in the park. It is somewhat protected. My grandmother, who's 90, survived it, and I'm pretty sure the vaccine had something to do with it. But then again, she's a bat, so who knows? This old bag.
Hey man, there's something to say about that old generation's tough as shit. Like whether you agree with them or not, the quote unquote greatest generation's tough.
That's right.
You like your school? Because when I was your age, I was fighting Nazis. That generation.
Hey, did you say Nicole Gonzalez is having a date night with her lover?
Yeah, I believe Thursdays are designated date nights.
That's important. That's a good thing for couples to do.
My wife and I are having one Saturday. We're going to go get some sushi.
You gonna go out to eat or order in?
We're going to go out. I am a homebody, but she loves going out. So it's like we're going to go out to one of the south suburbs where it's the idea is it's more spacious out there. So it's like you're not so on top of each other.
It's luxurious.
Places with parking lots beat street parking and fucking 10
Fuck street parking.
Yeah, and that was the thing is we had two places in mind, and one we go to we love, and it was like, but the fucking parking on Saturday night's going to be atrocious. And then the one that we've never tried before is like in like a mall area. It was like in the parking lot of the mall, so I know there'll be plenty of parking. It's like down the fucking way from Texas de Brazil. You ever been to Texas de Brazil or
no? I never,
what's the other one?
I don't even know what that is.
Brazilian steakhouses.
Oh,
where they come,
yes.
you have the red-green card.
Red and
Fogo
green,
de
baby.
Chao, I believe, is one of them.
Love that.
Oh man, you know what sucks? My wife had that surgery, and that's a thing of the past now.
Sure, dude. I mean, there's no fucking way your stomach can fucking that's the marathon, man. That's like you work up to that.
She could go there though and just order like an entree.
Yeah,
and let me pick out on delicious Brazilian meats.
Where's the fun in that, man?
Hey man, I know, but like I still got a fucking. I'm not 3 ounces of space. I could fit some Brazilian meat in my mouth.
Listen, that's between you and the Brazilian place now. This is
Yeah,
solo
me, the
venture.
Brazilian place, and God. You don't want to be the fat fuck at a buffet eating by himself. Like, I remember when I was younger, because we would always go with friends. And I remember, like, just seeing that dude who was just by himself, and it's like, dude, why would you come here?
You sad, sad
Like,
man.
you really have to be super gluttonous to ignore all social conventions
At that
and come
place,
here by
particularly.
yourself.
Yeah, no.
You are at a rinky-dink Chinese buffet in Chicago, Illinois. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, go get real Chinese. You're clearly single. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, cagey.
AG's over. Man, we went to that Easter buffet and I was good. It's all right. I basically just ate eggs and biscuits and gravy because I'm not a big ham guy.
Isn't cagey a Polak? Or no?
She does love pierogies and she wants to make some pierogi. I said like an Italian though.
Italian
A
pierogi.
Polish Italian. Fresh off the boat. Pierogi. So Mike,
What's up, baby?
boil? Do you boil only your pierogi? Do you
Fry 'em.
put it in the oven? Fry them, exactly. That's the only way to
Fry 'em.
fucking do it.
Yeah.
My German family literally puts them in like a vat of butter and slow cooks them, and they're fucking terrible.
Soggy, man.
Terrible. And I looked at like the last Christmas we had together, I was like, these are legitimately gross. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, no, come on, man. We're American, baby. Fry these fuckers up.
I haven't air fried them though. I wonder how they come out.
Ooh, nice, I bet.
Oh,
I'm
geez.
Ukrainian, not Polish.
Yeah. KG's about 10 days from putting on a uniform and taking the fight to the homeland.
Are you going back, KG? They call you up?
I found out she had a superpower, so she's just gonna wreck the fucking place.
Does she speak Ukrainian? Or whatever the fuck they speak over there? KG, what do they
I
speak
don't know
over
if I've
there?
ever asked that.
KG, what do those fucking mongrels speak over there? No. I don't know anything about Ukraine or their people, so I'm just being a goof. KG says no.
You know, I would love to learn another language. I don't know what language I would learn though. Like, I'd love to learn. Like, I know some Spanish. So I'd love to get fluent in Spanish. I guess would be the first one, but that doesn't really count. Like, I'd want another one.
Dude, you know what I've noticed on social media, man? Some creatives that I know, some content creators I know, are actively now hiding the fact that they are Russian and live in Russia. Like, they're that kind of ashamed of their nation.
Well, it's also, I mean, somewhat being persecuted too.
Yeah, well, yeah, a lot of people are actively shitting on them.
Like,
Yeah.
you're like, look at Mila Kunis. Like, she literally had to be like, well, I'm Ukrainian, but I identified as Russian because of ... They were shitting on her for it. It's like, yeah, you were born and raised in fucking Michigan. Like, shut up. You don't know anything of the situation. Fuck off. These people on the tweeters.
Oh, Twitter.
It's okay. Musk has got it. He's got it.
My
What
pops,
if he did buy? What if he did buy them all, and then he had to go to court over concerns of monopolizing, and he's like, "You're right. I'll shut them all down."
time to nuke it. Should have a T-shirt. This is
25% of the world has Genghis Khan lineage. Huh?
Is it that high?
That dude loved to swing dick.
What's up, BH? Welcome back, baby. That's an accurate statement. Half of Europe was raided by the Mongols. I bet I've got a little Genghis in me. 70% of Asia? Really?
Shit.
Could somebody actually look that up? I'm actually curious.
I wish we could find out how much testosterone was in that man.
Way more. I heard that on average our testosterone as just a human males decreases by like 1% every year. Or something ridiculous like that. So like,
looks like I'm getting on steroids soon.
So like that doesn't seem like much, but when you look at it like dudes from like 100 years ago, it's like night and day.
Well, look at 16-year-olds in the 80s.
It's a lot of tea.
Have you ever
baby.
looked at that?
No, what do they look like? Animals?
like or in the 70s, like 16-year-olds in the 70s look like full-grown fucking people. They look like they've got a day job and 3 kids.
Probably did. No, not the 80s.
70s.
I majored in Asian studies. Congratulations. Because he wouldn't ruin the areas he conquered unless the king didn't submit to him. Otherwise, the right people would just continue on. Cage's got a boner for Genghis Khan? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, a lot of people unfortunately did.
Whether they wanted to or not. I only did it for the
Basically.
language classes. Hey BH, you still banging Asian broads only, or you mixing it up? Cage, you ever hook up with an Asian gal? I mean,
Yeah,
I've been
no,
sucking
I was
German.
right.
Yeah.
Teenagers in the 70s looked like they were in their 30s.
It's all that dirty testosterone.
Like every now and then you get one that looks like a teenager. But then there's like some dude in the background who's 15 with a full fucking mustache. How old were you here? 13? Oh. Live near a radioactive plant, did you? No. Oh. In the water, was it?
Smoking was cool back then, and boozing.
Oh, yeah.
But also your mom smoking. If you're a teenager in the 80s, your mom most likely was like smoking and boozing with you in the oven.
More than likely. Drag racing and shit. You never not do a chance to do donuts in the parking lot.
Your mother was Grease Lightning.
She's got Pussy Wagon tattooed on her back. I love that movie. What?
Your mom was smoking when pregnant then. That's right. Yeah, dude, if you're a teenager in the 80s, 100%.
Pretty sure my mom did. Yeah. But then they also drank coffee and did drank fucking artificial sweeteners.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, they're doing lots of crazy
They did
shit.
a lot of bad stuff.
I wonder what kind of weird shit parents are doing now that they don't know about, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I would not put it past people to, like, while pregnant, just wear a bubble. Between COVID and everything, I'm surprised you don't see more bubble people.
Get in the bubble.
I just disinfected it. Come in. What?
So, BH hasn't been banging Asian broads because he's been trapped in Germany. And German pussy just doesn't hit the same.
No? What's wrong with it? Is it too cold?
BH, what's wrong with German pussy? Yeah, is it too cold?
Is it east or west? I know that doesn't matter so much anymore, but it does. Lineage is everything. Okay, so he's been slinging it.
Cage's never
Okay.
Cage's never made love to an Asian woman. So just write that down.
It's too strict. Be home by 9. It's a dumb joke.
I have, just not in Asia. German chicks are just annoyingly full of mental baggage. Like,
I
what?
wonder why. Has nothing to do with generations of suffering.
Yeah,
I mean, is it like family baggage or is it just like always nagging? Oof.
Oh boy, don't need that.
So you already have the nagging as the negative, and then you have that crazy German accent to go with it.
Don't need to be nagged.
Calm down, Schwarzenegger. I'll take out the fucking trash.
He's Austrian, but who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
I love Schwarzenegger. I wish he would make more movies. I think I'm like the only one who still wants to watch Schwarzenegger in movies.
I'm down.
Like yeah. I mean, in like not even like serious. I want him in balls to the wall action movies at 68 years old. So you were born with a wall fell. You do not have. Well,
Emotional
hey.
damage.
Yeah. Everybody's got their own thing, I guess. We've all got problems.
It's too strict. Good to know. Good to know.
These topsy-turvy times. You never know.
One of my best mates in high school was German. His accent was fun. Did he also was his take on German women the same as BH?
I really like the band Rammstein. One of my favorite bands going back to when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, you know what? I don't think I know any German women. I've got nothing to, I've got like no.
I know my
gauge.
aunts. My aunt Inga. She's very German. That's not the type of German chick I want to be talking to, though. You know what I mean?
Definitely not.
No. Hey, Aunt Inga, how was Germany? We don't talk about this. All right. Well, she at this point is a grandmother, I believe. She's old. She's like close to death old. 80s, I believe.
The Grim Reaper's coming.
Yeah. The German Grim Reaper, which is twice as terrifying.
I heard that in German public transit they stare at you. Like no matter who you are, like they just look at you. Like you'll get stared at, and that's being stared at is normal over there. Just like unbreaking eye contact.
When you look like me, it's normal anyway. So I'm okay with it. Wait, but is there like a code where you're not supposed to make eye contact? Like you just gotta look away the whole time?
If you don't look German, yes. Oh, really? Oh, that ought to be fun.
That's it, Mike. You and I, we're heading to Germany. We're gonna get stared at and film it. YouTube stars.
But same in Asia, if you don't look Asian. Are you just gonna get stared at?
I'm sure I would stand out quite a bit.
Confirm. People stared at me a lot when I visited Germany during Christmas some 10 years ago. What do you look like? Snow Rip.
Sweet. What do you look like?
Yeah. How freaky you
Who
look.
do you think you are? What do you look like? Who are you?
I was in a village in Japan once where they didn't see a white person in 100 years. Did they start freaking out when they saw you?
Holy shit. I mean, that's a long fucking time, dude. I would freak out too. I'm like, whoa. Who's this cracker?
Like, what the fuck is this?
That's, wow, 100 years.
They thought I was a ghost. Get out of here. It's a ghost. It's spooky.
I like how you went 80s Saturday morning cartoons with it. Zoinks!
Did any of them speak to you? Anybody ask to take a photo?
Did they ask you which demon you represented?
Yeah, how'd you end up over there anyway? How'd you end up in a fucking village like that?
Jeans and a t-shirt is comfortable.
You just rode the train?
I mean, that's pretty cool though. If you got that freedom and you do that, like just, I know where the train line is. I'm gonna go explore. The Casper movie with Bill Pullman, and the only actual cameo by Dan Aykroyd in his Ghostbusters regalia ever in film.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Running out of the house.
Call someone else. No, yeah, I mean, I'd imagine you want to be like fluid. Yeah, I remember that movie.
If you don't speak Japanese, don't do that though. There's no English anywhere. Were they surprised that you a white face knew their language, spoke their native tongue?
I like those videos on YouTube where the person speaks like Mandarin or and they go to a Chinese restaurant and then orders in it. Those videos are funny because they all look at them like, what the fuck?
The fuck is this?
How dare you learn our language? I didn't know Bill Pullman was still acting.
I didn't know Bill Pullman was still alive.
He studied it for 5 years. Okay, so I'd imagine you were on point. Yeah, he's still alive, man. He's the president, right? I think it's pretty awesome. Every new language you learn opens up like another area of the map you can travel freely through.
It's like a open world RPG.
Basically, but real life learning. It's awesome. The Sinner is about religion.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's his president character, but he's crazy now. He's just talking about aliens and shit all the time. The way back.
You get treated much better if you
some
speak
effort.
even a tiny bit of the local language.
I don't know. I feel like if you're going to areas foreign to you, probably should, no? Like,
Sure.
at least have
just a little bit. Please,
Yeah,
thank
enough
you.
to-
Where's the bathroom? May I have this?
don't kill me. Like I would like if I were to be traveling, I would definitely try to learn, or at least have a decent grasp of the language, a fair grasp. I do want to start learning languages. 80 countries at this point. Holy cow.
You must have seen some weird shit, man. Must have met some wild people. I want to reach all countries at some point. My personality changed so much since I started traveling. How so? In what way?
It's kind of funny. Your drawing that you're doing started off looking like it belonged in a Tool music video. And now it's a person.
And now it's a person, right? It's funny how that works. This sounds cheesy, but it helped me treat all races and ethnicities the same. What the fuck were you treating them like before? I used to spit at black people, and then I realized that they're humans too.
I used to kick them when they were down, literally and figuratively, but now...
There was a bunch of Vietnamese toddler ran past, I farted right in their mouth. But now, not anymore. At least not all that often.
I no longer headbutt these type of babies.
I mean that I don't see them as different ethnicity anymore. Oh, see, man. See, I'm already there, baby. I guess I don't need to travel. I got to that conclusion without having to go anywhere.
You just look in the mirror. Yeah, that's right. I am an old soul. Covered.
Done and done. Just write that off the bucket list. Keep in mind I'm from Germany. Mostly met Turkish, Russians, and Poles before. They don't count as human beings. Polish people? Polacks? Human? No. Hey, how ethnically Ukrainian is KG?
I think pretty close to 100.
Well, I mean, what about culturally?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Poles were treated the same as blacks in the U.S. back in the day. I mean, everybody was treated shitty here whenever they came over. Germans were treated like garbage when they came over here. Polacks, Italians were treated like mongrels. Irish, there used to be signs around, telling the Irish people to essentially get the fuck lost. No Irish wanted signs.
Yeah, need not apply.
Yeah. The Jews, same thing. Asians, of course, couldn't legally buy land, I think, for the longest time. Yeah. Everybody got treated like shit here. It just, some worse than others for a longer period of time. Clearly. Melee, you motherfucker. Welcome back, baby. You fucking animal.
Hola, Melee.
Ladies.
Mikey seems like a cool substitute teacher. That's right. I'm gonna curse in front of the kids too. Don't tell your parents, you fucking narcs. I'll deny
No,
it.
not the hard ones. Like, it'll be hell and damn. You do those frequently. Every now and then you let a shit or
I was about to say every now and then you let a shit slip out, and you give
like
the
if you
class
say
a wink.
if you say God damn at the class, it's like, oh, he's mad.
Mike, please. I almost choked on my drink here. Wait, what'd I say? Culturally, they're Ukrainian and post-Soviet. The Slavs were quote-unquote signed as people of color a few years ago in the U.S. Funniest thing I've ever seen. What do you think changed all that, Michael? How do you reduce the prejudices? I think people just, once there's enough of a group of people and they're fucking everybody else, I think you basically just kind of, like, if you hung up a sign here that said no Irish wanted, most people, I'm assuming, would assume it was a fucking joke. And if it wasn't a joke, you'd probably get boycotted. Like, people probably be like, what the fuck is wrong with it'd be like, it'd be so crazy. And God forbid you were to do that with like a brown group of people. Like, if you had two restrooms and one of them was designated the restroom for colored folk, like if you went back to the Jim Crow era South laws, you'd be fucking ousted. Like, your business would be completely boycotted. You'd be put on a black, like, there's no way that stuff would fly now.
No.
At all.
With social media, it would get around.
Yeah. And rightfully so. What human being would want to support people like that? So, times change, people learn and evolve. I think just time and culture handles all that for the most part. You just, the culture goes on and you learn better as a people. I mean, America already has a bit of a short history. Jim Crow was only like 50 years ago. And now racism's over. So we're good, baby. America,
We have conquered it.
Yeah. Barack Obama, we got him twice, and then racism just went away forever. We nailed it. High fives all around.
Then we went right back to a 76-year-old white dude.
Well, with a little bit of a course correction.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had two white dudes in a row in their 70s.
Sad. China.
China. Don't go to China, okay?
I mean, America, You heard it here first. Cancel culture can do good. What Paul Dean holding a plantation party and calling people N-words wasn't far back enough. She got canceled and was allowed back. Everybody gets allowed back, but I think
When you
listen,
put enough butter in
Mel-
dishes, you're allowed back.
Mel Gibson was allowed back, and he called
Somewhat.
up his ex-wife and said he called her up and told her, "I hope you get raped by a pack of N-words, except without my editing." He just said that, and a bunch of other worse stuff.
Yep.
That was just the tip of the iceberg. You could find those tapes probably on YouTube somewhere if you're curious. But again, there at some point, right? At some point, at what point is somebody forgiven? Now, to some people, never. The answer is never. No matter how many apologies you make, or changes you make, or philanthropy you do, it's never enough. No amount of mea culpas are enough. No amount of self-isolation and learning and rehab.
Yeah, you're not allowed to grow and change
Yeah.
as a person.
Yeah. Your one fuck up, or the worst day of your life is now marks your entire life in existence, and there's no way you should ever come back. And I don't agree with that at all. Take Louis C.K. for example.
He was an alcoholic. He had substance abuse issues on top of it.
Sure. That guy had a lot going on. Also, his father was a Holocaust denier, from what I've been told.
Yeah, real kook.
Yeah, so like, I'm not a Mel Gibson simp, but I mean, fucking, like, how many years, right? It's been, what, over 10 years? Like, how many years are we supposed to laud person's mistakes over their head if they've done the work and have seemed to have cleaned up their act?
Look what happened with Donovan McNabb.
I don't know anything about that.
Wasn't McNabb the one that was doing the dog fighting?
Well, that was Michael Vick, isn't it?
Or Vic, yeah, yeah. And it, like, basically there was a point where, like, you had a lot of people just like, I mean, how long does he have to, like, I guess he had done work towards animal shelters, and he wasn't allowed to own animals for a certain amount of time, and so there was that question of, like, they were kind of keeping him on the outside for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I think there should be some kind of path to redemption. There should be some sort of forgiveness. I know that's not what everybody thinks and feels. People are feel very strongly. The example I was given recently was a Louis C.K. People were furious. They said, you say cancel culture doesn't exist. Louis C.K. just wanted a Grammy. That dude couldn't work. Couldn't go to clubs. He lost all of the projects in TV and movies he'd been working on. People were not supporting that dude for a very long time, and he slowly had to get back, and he's still not where he was.
There are some people that don't deserve it, like OJ.
OJ, I would put Weinstein, probably. Fucking Cosby is another one.
Yeah, I don't understand why we haven't just hung Weinstein in, like, an alley yet. Like, what's the deal?
Right.
Like, why are we keeping him around? He's like, if he doesn't start naming names, fucking get rid of him.
Yeah, no. There are some people there are some things that are beyond, Polanski, for example, what that lunatic did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying everybody, but within reason. Like what Mel Gibson was canceled for, and Louis C.K. That doesn't compare to what the worst of the worst did. Cosby might be the most prolific rapist of all time. That's how bad it is.
I'd argue Louis C.K.'s biggest thing is he's just a fucking creepy pervert.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't do anything illegal. It was some questioning of, like, when he had positions of power, if any of it, he could have potentially had that dynamic with some of the women, but a lot of it was, like, fellow stand-up comedians.
Ice Cube sang about burning down the stores of Chop Suey. I don't know if I could say that word. Chinks? Can I say Chinks?
I definitely can't. That's why I didn't say it.
I've said it before. I've been called it before, so I usually say it. But if anyone wants to cancel me, go nuts. Louis C.K.'s comeback set was superb. I actually hadn't heard it. I think
he was selling it on his website.
Yeah. Let's see. We haven't hung anyone because we're soft on crime. I think if the evidence is irrefutable, like solid, rock solid evidence, caught red-handed.
Yeah, no,
right?
no DNA evidence.
Right.
30 years later, exoneration.
Yeah, none of that. Like, if maybe they did. This is all hearsay and eyewitness stuff. I'm talking about like irrefutable proof. I think people should be executed. I really do. The problem with that is that like there's too many. It's too impure, right? The process. There's too many people who get off. They're on death row, and then years later, like Matt said, they're exonerated because evidence found that it was a coerced conviction. It was coerced confession. It was BS. Defendants or prosecution was on the take, and there was lots of palling around with the judge.
They were basically being tortured for the answer.
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah, it's stuff like that that puts the kibosh on it across the board. But I think in a case like Cosby's, where you're just like
Weinstein,
you're just like, what the fuck, man? Epstein.
Yeah, well, yeah,
that took care of itself, but you know what I mean.
Something took care of it.
But that was after he'd already been arrested for it. Back in like 2013 or 2012, he'd been arrested for the same shit, more or less. And he got out with a slap on the wrist because, well, I wonder why. It might have to do with the same reason why he decided to remove himself, quote unquote, from existence. Might just happen to be the same reason why he got out with a slap on the wrist the first time around. Your punishment is that we're going to prevent you from suffering anymore. It's just not, dude, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but we have to pay to keep that person alive.
That person in their lifespan, if they live a long enough life, will cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. And also, depending on where they're put and for how long, that person's life won't be misery 24/7. It'll suck and it'll be shitty, but there will be moments of levity and joy, and they might find God and peace and Zen. And
also, what about the victim suffering, knowing that piece of shit's still alive?
Yeah, and they're gonna draw breath, and every new day, who knows what might happen. That person might have good days, great days even. They might, they might be able to sneak in food and a smartphone and jerk off.
Ideally, he's miserable, but that doesn't mean he is.
No. I like the fact that Johnny Depp referred to the shit as grumpy, like the actual feces.
Did he really?
How does one with so much power get to that place? I mean, I'm sure you got
connections, money, politics.
Yeah. Well, dude, Epstein would have, like, Bill Gates was palling around with him. Clinton, I think Clinton like rode on his jet like 20 times, and then all these kind of high-level executives and other lunatics. He was hobnobbing with some of the most elites. And the speculation that most people have is on his island, you would go and, listen, you meet a guy through a guy, Matt, imagine a friend of a friend introduces you a guy, and then you're like, oh, let's go over this guy's house. This guy's really cool. He seems above board, but really he's not. And then once you're at this guy's place and you've got no way off, that's when the bad shit starts to go down. And guess what? Now you're on this island, you've been seen with this guy, and now bad shit is going down. Or worse yet, you were lied to, and perhaps the entertainment that you thought you were receiving was all above board, was not. And guess what? What you assumed was legal entertainment is quite illegal entertainment. I don't want to get into specifics, but use your imagination as to what I'm talking about. And guess what? They've also got you on tape doing it.
Well, not even just that, but you've got the ideal of like, if these people are backed by certain people, certain power, you have the fear aspect as well.
Sure. I mean, look, there's
the
a lot
idea of like, I saw some shit, I'm going to talk about it. I have a high enough profile. And then you're told, well, you don't have a high enough profile not to disappear.
Yeah, no, so like, listen, apparently Epstein had a lot of shit on a lot of people, and by design. Like
how does that not come out?
Well, isn't that the most pertinent question? How has it not come out? It's
like,
never.
I don't get it. especially in this day and age where it's like we were talking about earlier, you can oust a racist real quick. How is that shit still secret?
Well, somebody must be keeping them secrets then.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking garbage.
Somebody's keeping those secrets. Somebody very important. I can only assume. Somebody with a lot of wealth and power, who probably, whoever it was, that helped that person remove themselves, quote unquote, from existence, is probably worth talking to, but that'll never happen.
Oh God, no.
Never. Whoever orchestrated that.
You don't want the people to find out the truth. Tell you that much. Then we'd be burning down the fucking White House.
Right? Let's see. I'd rather have them suffer instead of die, even if it's just social death.
I don't want to pay for them to be kept alive.
No, me neither. No, I don't. Like I said, I don't. I think not being alive is a punishment. Is maybe even the most severe punishment. Life is so short, such a small gift. Yeah, if life is truly precious, then getting rid of that's about as severe as punishment. I mean, well, there's solitude. Listen, there's torture, right? But what the fuck, man?
It also depends on how narcissistic the person is.
No, we're not in the goddamn torture business.
Well, we're not supposed to be, no.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, some rich people are satisfied with it being able to have intercourse with tons of willing people, just like altered carbon. They want something more fucked up than the last. They're not satisfied. Everyone abandons them as long as the social baggage is too big. It's 2:30 a.m. I'm half asleep. I'm going later, Bomani. All right. I'm going to take a quick pee break. Matt, you don't feel inclined to have to deal with these lunatics in the chat?
I'm playing a round of Rocket League, just waiting for Jen to get home, and then I have to jump off at that point. But she's taking her time.
Alrighty. All right, yes, pee break for me. I'll be right back.
As we've talked, it's a pee and microwave break. YouTube is really getting that sensory. Huh? They didn't even let you do fuck off the other day. I mean, here's the thing, Melee. It's one of those things like nature, man, has its courses, right? So, in nature, if a certain thing is out of line, the rest of the pack or whatever the grouping is, it's their responsibility to take care of it. Now, we can argue that as humanitarians, who are we to take another human's life? But my opinion is you cross the line of being human and being not an animal when you do certain things. So why do you get the same protections as your other humans? I feel when you do certain things that are so heinous, you lose the protections that come with being part of the human species. You're now a rabid human. And you know, I don't think people should be executed for minor shit, but like a Weinstein, I'd have no problem. Rope don't cost that much. Well, see, that's the problem, man. We have death sentences. A lot of dudes, years on death row. There's a lot of litigation in between with appeals and everything. That's not true. Drug addicts can be sick and be criminals. Anybody can be a criminal, and they're not mutually exclusive. Being a drug addict does not make you a criminal. Being a drug addict who commits criminal acts to fund his drug habit is a criminal. But I don't believe punishments like execution and things like that. I think rehab is, sure. I don't think rehab should be applied to everybody. I mean, I don't think a person like I said, it goes back to the whole thing. I don't think a person like Weinstein deserves and or can be rehabilitated, frankly. They need, everywhere should legalize weed. I don't know why they haven't. I mean, fuck, we can smoke cigarettes. All of, how many Americans and Europeans, all that, and Asians smoke cigarettes, but fuck weed, right? Germans. Yeah, 21 and over, which makes sense, I'd say. I mean, I don't know. That's another argument, to be honest with you. Christian Democratic Party, huh? Well, Christianity and Catholicism are two different things, but I guess it depends on how deep into the theocracy it goes. That's a terrible idea, Melee. Not all Republicans are Christian. Agreed. Melee, how do you get family and Christian to be mutually exclusive? Explain that one to me. It's a good point there, Snow Rip. Well, I mean, if anything with family in it reads as Christian. Why? I guess is the question. Why do you does family equal Christian? There's lots of diverse families. That might be a bigger argument of the breakdown of the nuclear family, which you might be connecting in your head. There's a fair point to be made there. And I personally don't relate the two. Yeah, but mainly what I'm saying is that description that you have is nothing to do with religion from the base description in any way. What you're describing is the nuclear family, which I suppose does come from the era of religious backing, but I'd still argue that the nuclear family still exists with no ties to religion. There is no, in my opinion, there's no connection to it being a necessity. Yeah, I don't necessarily know why, because I've never, I mean, it's a weird cultural shift to where family can equal, the nuclear family now can, equals in some people's minds religious family, which I still maintain the two aren't, I mean, they can be connected, but they're not exclusive to each other. One doesn't rely upon the other. Tradition, maybe, but I mean, I'd argue that what we're talking about is the death of, tradition, the death of the traditional nuclear family, especially nowadays. At least in the United States. I mean, religion in itself is a tradition when you really think about it. Most religious people don't wake up and go, okay, I'm going to be this faith. It's kind of influenced by the family, whatever that structure is. A history, yes, but I mean, if you're going to equate it that way, though, then you also have to have the discussion of if by diminishing what the nuclear family is in modern times, are they trying to diminish what Christianity is if they're connected in that way? Now, I've seen, I have personal experience with both sides of the fence, where you have nuclear families that do exist without religion and also faithful. I told you he was gonna go to the bathroom where he has his microwave and get a Hot Pocket.
It's a leftover Taco Bell. I got a nacho fries box from T-Bell earlier.
Nice. Mike, I'm gonna head out. The wife is home. I'm gonna go chill with her before she goes snooze.
All right, friend.
You have yourself a wonderful evening. Melee, always love to talk to you. Everybody else I was talking to, you guys have a wonderful evening. It was a fun conversation.
Thank you for being here, buddy.
As always, I will talk to you guys soon. That's my dog squeaking his squeaker in the background. He's a punk ass. Everybody have a good night.
Tell the dog I said hi. There goes Nerditude. There goes Nerditude crushing it. Is the genie in a lamp? Is it a genie in a lamp drawing? I mean, that's not what I intended to draw. I just was drawing a cool looking lady. That's a fun concept though. What's up, BH? Here, I want to shout out. I want to shout out Matt. Shout out Nerditude. There he is. Go check out Matt's stream, you guys. Can I just say I love how free your stream is? How do you mean, BH? Christians seem to be the only ones pushing for the traditional family nowadays. Just so chill without immediate judgment. Well, what I know is that, generally speaking, there are a lot of people who visit this stream that have contradicting opinions on lots of things. Sometimes just about anything. And I do have mine. And sometimes I could be a dickhead about it. I'm not perfectly diplomatic all the time. But for the most part, I try to let people speak about how they feel. If you explain yourself, you're good. Sure, I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that you and I disagree about.
You're all a bunch of fucking assholes!
You know. If you were only friends and if you only associated with people who agreed with you, first off, that's gonna warp your entire way of thinking about things.
Get the strap! It's pegging time!
You know what? I think it's important for all of us to challenge our beliefs. Even the ones that we hold on to the tightest. Maybe even especially the ones we hold on to the tightest. Or at least from time to time. Yeah, broaden your horizons. Try to think outside yourself. No, you don't, Melee, says Corey. Oh, Corey disagrees.
I love watching Bukkake. I mean, like, I don't know if I personally would ever do it.
I think personally,
Guys, can you believe Bukkake went out of style?
I think personally the overwhelming, politically, on the political scale, the people who I find myself most engaged with generally is people who fall in the center, I'd say. Not all. Like I said, the center is a big place. Center right, center left,
Ooh, look at the peepers.
center,
Always got eyes
like
you could come on you guys.
libertarian centrist. On a political scale, I'm not American. Oh yeah, you know, I see things in a very American centric political scale, right? Because the American political system as a whole, as far as westernized nations, Western European nations, we're pretty, I think as a nation we lean overall conservative, if I remember correctly. Corey. Corey, do you have more left-leaning or right-leaning or centrist friends? Democrats are center-right in Germany. Left. Since Moser from Twitch. It is funny how places like Twitch and YouTube, just social media in general, there does seem to be a lot. It does seem to skew, at least in the creative fields. It does seem to skew more liberal. Hassan. Fuck that dude. Hassan. That guy's a fucking hack. And a retard. Every clip I've ever seen of that dude, he's completely talking out of his ass. Corey's a whore. Hipster opens up your political spectrum. Hassan is a fake hipster, fake commie, right? It's like that dude's the communist. Get the fuck out of here. Faye is faking her new persona. Is she doing the whole... Again, I haven't watched her channel in fuck almost years at this point. Is she doing the Hassan thing? Is she doing like political left? Progressive left, like hyper progressive socialist left? If that bitch ass over went to Eastern Germany, they would have whooped his capitalist fake Cali ass. Stasi would have offed him. She did a video for Hassan when he got banned. What do you get banned for? Cracker? He called somebody a cracker. Can you not say cracker? Is cracker considered hate speech? Can white people say it then? He defended that the word cracker is not a slur. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that a hyper progressive like that retard Hassan can have these ridiculous, like super ultra progressive viewpoints, right? And then lean into that and have that be their political point of view. And then turn around and use something that is termed a racial slur or at the very least a pejorative aimed at a specific group of people, not in a good light, to call somebody a cracker. But to use language like that and still call yourself a progressive, doesn't that seem like incredibly fucking hypocritical? He's an American progressive. Only POC can experience her. Oh, that is such a fucking ridiculous mindset. The fact that the literal definition of racism is not the definition that you use. Because we've looked up the definition of racism, and it means exactly what you think it means. It means holding a prejudice towards a specific group of people based on nothing aside from their race or whatever other intrinsic characters they have. I mean, that's it. That's the term. That's the definition. There it is. But for For some reason, there are a group of people that like to forget that that isn't a thing, and that black people can't be racist, or brown people or people of color can't be racist because of reasons. So yes, by that weird, ridiculous mindset, that very narrow bandwidth of thinking, and when you exist in that kind of echo chamber, by that logic, of course, cracker can't be a slur. Yes, defame entire groups of people, quote unquote, as long as they're white, which again, I would argue in and of itself is also rude as shit. I take umbrage with that as well. Because as I've come to learn here on this very stream, that even the term white, right? When you talk about oh white people do this, white people do that, it's dumb, man. It's a really dumb thing to say. You know, you take the same thing if you were lumping all black people together. It's the same ridiculousness, right? So you might be talking to a Dominican dude, a Haitian dude, a Jamaican dude, somebody from Nigeria, and you're just gonna be like, oh, black people, this. It's a very stupid asinine way of thinking. But you know, the same thing applies to if you're talking about white folk, right? It's that same boiled down stupid way of thinking, just lumping an entire. It's no different when you do with Hispanic people. You know, a Mexican, a Puerto Rican, an El Salvadorian, a Costa Rican, an Ecuadorian, a Colombian, a Bolivian, and an Argentinian, Brazilian. These are all Hispanic people, but lumping them all together as just one giant monolith is ridiculous. But most people toss that aside when it becomes when the attention is drawn to white people, because you just think of them as just one large swath of people here in America, which is again ridiculous. But because they've been the majority in the ruling party for some power of people for so long, people they give it a pass. But really, it's still fucking rude as shit and prejudice, and can be racist as well. But because the progressive take, the narrow-minded progressive take, is white people bad, they're more apt to let it slide. So yeah, fuck that. Fuck it when anyone does it, but just because a person that you're shitting on is white, still doesn't give you a pass. To be fair, not all South America is Hispanic. The term white people is so reductive. Yeah, but lots of people don't see it that way because, like I said, the progressive takeaway is white bad. Therefore, you can be racist towards white people. You could be offensive. You could say, you call them cracker and all kinds of other pejoratives without fear of any kind of repercussion for your action, because it's not racist if you're defaming white people. It's so stupid. My God, man. But listen. What are you gonna do, right? How long does one get banned for using the term cracker? So like a couple day ban? If you are on 12 hours. Right. You know what? I forgot Twitch's nebulous terms of service, where people get punished differently for, well, depending on what rules they're breaking. So yeah, if Twitch likes you and you're one of their favorite children. Dude, what's his face?
Everything is sexist. Everything is racist.
Ethan
Everything
from
is homophobic.
H3H3 basically spilled the beans that there was one time he wasn't banned for something and another streamer was, and they were both doing the same wrong thing at the same time, except Ethan Klein of H3H3 fame not punished at all, and he elaborated as to why that was, and he said his Twitch liaison, when asked why he wasn't punished, the same as this other, I think it was Joey Salads or something, was his stream was banned, but not Ethan's. They basically said in so many ways that Ethan's one of their guys, so he doesn't get banned. So yeah, some more biases. More biases of these on these platforms. H3H3 is a fuckwad. I mean, he is now. He used to at least back in the day he was funny. Man, I used to love watching those videos, just cracking up, having a good time, laughing along. But now, sheesh. Yeah, he got in trouble. We talked about this. He got in trouble too recently because he was talking about gay people. But he was talking about gay folk like old Ethan Klein, Ethan Klein from 7-8 years ago. He was just being silly, right? He was remarking on tops and bottoms and certain effeminate members of the gay community. And ooh boy, he got in trouble, man. Got called out. People ended up getting his sponsors taken away. And then he was bitching about it. But dude, you decided to court a hyper progressive audience. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. When your entire audience now is comprised of people who are, again, that Hassan level of thinking. Yeah, no, you're gonna tease gay people being a straight, white, cisgendered male. Yeah, no, you're gonna fucking pay. Yeah, these are the people that live off cancel culture. They can't wait. These are individuals who have so little going on in their lives. They wait for the next person to fuck up so they could take right to social media and start berating them. So that they can start emailing companies and businesses so that they won't do business with them because they are insert the whatever it might be. The partner manager responsible for hiring new partners who got fired for inappropriate conduct. Oh, the other Hassan. Right, the other Hassan. They think that's the reason why Alinity never was banned for any of the crap that she did. God, man, sometimes the more I talk about Twitch, the more irritating it is. All right, I've been doodling this for too long. Also, what's up, Whiteboardist? How are you, buddy? Whiteboardist. skateboardist. And after they made a rule that you can't accuse Twitch staff of that same thing. Oh wait, hey, what was this? Do you guys know anything about that that Twitch was talking about including some new stuff? Like changing the rules for partners and like was it increasing their cut of the subscription revenue, but like decreasing their cut of the ad revenue? Did you guys see that? Somebody posted about it in the Discord. I didn't get a chance to thoroughly read it. But it sounded insane. It sounded like Twitch is still not profitable for Amazon, and Amazon wants profitability from the platform. So they're looking of changing the cut that, wow, so subscriptions to the channel, which already they take fucking half of, which is, by the way, way more than is taken on any other platform. YouTube, I think, takes 30%. Patreon takes around 10 to 5, I think, depending on what, if you're grandfathered in or not. Amazon just posted quarterly results. They posted a $3.98 billion loss. Twitch or Amazon? Stock was down 10% after hours. Why the fuck is Amazon down? They control everything. They're fucking Amazon. Higher fuel costs? Oh, shit. Yeah, I guess like they got to drive all that shit around the U.S. Get delivered. Amazon can't beat a fucked up supply chain and high oil prices. Ha. Yeah, but Jesus, man, if Amazon is suffering, God knows what that means for... God knows what that must mean for regular old mom and pop shops. Probably nothing good. Amazon is always down. They work on a loss. That's how they free ship everything 2 days with huge boxes for 2 screws. Just have it sent back and resent with 2 nails. Stock in the past 6 months have dropped from 3,500 to 2,600. I'm so genuinely happy that there are Amazon unions forming. I'm surprised there hasn't been more Amazon unions before this. It was flirting with 3,500. I rounded, so sue me. Because Amazon has strict anti-union practices in place. So how many of you guys delivers Amazon packages? Oh yeah, that's right. Now that's insane. That company, that Amazon, their packages are delivered partially by guys like Corey. You know, just regular old fucking mail carriers. Just postmen. Check Google. 52-week high was 3,700. Low was 2,671. Why would I piss in a bottle? I'm outside all day. Guys, where do you think Corey goes to shit when he's at work? Delivering mail. Local 7-Eleven? I bet that animal. Corey, you animal, you. I heard Corey doesn't wash his hands after he doo-doos on the job, so he gets poop particles on the mail. Hoping that you guys will get a E. coli or whatever. My house is on my route. I had to make a pit stop today. Good seeing you, Melee. Thanks for hanging out, buddy. One of these days I got a voice chat with you. Should be interesting. I mean, listen, same as the it's the same as the chat. Fucking Twitch, man. Twitch. Already taken half. Want to take more. Man, that's so fucked up, dude. Actually, I'm very curious now what YouTube's percentage of their membership program is, because YouTube's membership is their version of a Twitch sub, becoming a channel member. I remember it being much less. Could be mistaken though. It definitely fucking wasn't 50%. And it sure as fucking hell wasn't 70%. Why is it anytime I hear about Twitch news, it's almost always something bad? Like, it's always like something shitty that's happening. It's never like, man, you see this new cool Twitch feature? It's like, man, you hear this horrible shit that's happening at the company this time? The super chats on YouTube take about 30%. Well, the other thing about YouTube is, one thing that YouTube added recently, that for anybody who creates YouTube longer form YouTube content, not live streams but videos, they added a feature that TikTok has had for a while now. But in order to get this feature on TikTok, you need to have like 100,000 subscribers. On Twitch though, on YouTube, I think partnered. I don't know exactly what the prerequisites are for this feature on YouTube, but the feature is, I think it's called Super Gift. It's like Super Chat, but when you're offline. And like I said, there's some creators on TikTok that you could use this feature. So edited YouTube videos, content that you guys, regular YouTube videos that you guys watch. So like, let's say, you know, I don't know, man, you saw a video that you really like about somebody teaching you how to play piano or guitar or something. And you're like, yo, you know what? I learned a lot from this tutorial. I'm going to kick the creator back $2 or $3 just as a thank you. Cause I would, you know, this is something I would have paid for. Or, you know, you're watching an entertainment video and, you know, the creator makes you laugh at something and you think, you know what, this is fun. I don't want to be a membership. Like, I don't want to pay $5 membership, but you know what? I wouldn't mind tossing a five spot their way, like you would, like you tip your bartender for or your server for a meal or whatever it might be. Yeah. So yeah, you could do that now. You can do that now on YouTube, certain YouTube videos. Certain YouTube channels, rather. But that's something Twitch doesn't even have. That's something Twitch couldn't even have. If you think about it. There's no... Twitch's offline content is... Yeah, you get VODs, but... Who the fuck is going to Twitch to watch pre-made, like, pre-stream content? The whole appeal of the platform is that, you know, you get to show up and interact with your favorite streamer and, you know, troll them. Honestly, if the new partnership thing gets rid of exclusivity, don't know why you wouldn't multi-stream. That feature is commonplace in China. China! Technically, you can sub and give bits offline. I do watch VOD sometimes on Twitch to catch up on stuff. I suppose if you're watching something like Critical Role or something to that, if you are watching a podcast specifically and exclusively on Twitch, I get that. But you know, the majority of those are available on other platforms. So I would, honestly, I would go to YouTube, or if I was going to watch something like that. But I guess if there's a streamer that I really enjoyed, and it was how I was consuming their content, I guess I'd pop on the platform to check it out.
I will sub like next week. Why? Because you're too poor to afford $4.99 today?
$4.99 today?
for my sub gift.
Hey, pony named Tony. Oh, I didn't even know somebody sub gifted you, Tony. Welcome. Welcome, Tony. Thank you, Tony. Much appreciated, Tony. Tony. Tony, we're talking about all the we're talking about all the shitty things that go on at Twitch. Yeah, they did. I hope you're well. Many, many, many shitty things going on here at Twitch. I mean, listen, I think I think there's a lot of good, awesome things that Twitch does. But man, I truly, man, I don't get why they do what they do. And I don't get how they're not more profitable. They're, in many ways, the only game in town. I've actually had, you know, it's funny, man. I've actually had a couple people on my TikTok account, which is growing. What's my TikTok subscriber count at these days? Let's take a look. Let's take a little peeky poo. I am at, wow, I guess I hit 4,000 recently. Well, bully for me. Let's see my last couple videos. 1,200 views, 3,000 views, 2,600 views, 300 views, 200 views, 200 views, 1,200 views, 1,400 views, 6,000 views, 4,000 views, 12. All right, it's a little all over the map. Then yeah, 1,200, then 1,000 views. Oh, and then one of them hit 12,000 views. Nice. Hey, Annalise Art, thank you for the YouTube subscription, friend. We're just talking shit. Feel free to chime in. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. I hope you're well. I'm feeling my hermit self today, so I'm going to lurk. Liking this place so far. Well, you're always welcome. All are welcome. So as long as you're not too much of a lunatic. But for the most part, all are welcome. Even I have my limits. Hey, how are you guys all feeling about the Elon Musk buyout? I know a lot of hyper-progressives are treating it like it's the end of the world. But it seems like Elon is... Well, we were ripping on him earlier. In Elon Musk news, it was released today that he was such a simp for Amber Heard. He was literally giving her money of his own for her to pay the ACLU to the tune of, I think, about $500,000 to give to the ACLU. Fucking simp. talking about Amber Heard's doo-doo. The best part is she tried to blame it on the dogs. I did this the other day because I watched Johnny Depp's, like, when he was, I had to watch him talking about this live on camera. And they're like, how'd you know it was Amber Heard? And he's like, she tried to blame it on the dogs, but we have teacup Yorkies that are 4 pounds each. Just like, really, dude? You try to blame a fucking human-sized turd on a 4-pound Yorkie? God, it's just hysterical, man. That trial is wild. I'll say this much. I'll say this much about the trial. Amber Heard is looking horrible. Absolutely horrible. I didn't like her before. But my goodness, man. Bad. I haven't seen on social media, at least. Not that that's the barometer for all that is right and true. But I haven't seen a single person on social media in her corner. Everybody on every platform. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Discord. Everybody's like, she's crazy. I don't believe a damn word she says. The tapes of her admitting and then gaslighting him after hitting him. She's like, I didn't hit you with an open fist. She's like, I'm sorry I wasn't hitting you right. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, what? I'm like, what the fuck kind of language is this? I've never been in an abusive relationship, so this is not my wheelhouse. But I've never been gaslit by a person who I loved to tell me that I'm being a baby because I'm not having the appropriate reaction to being struck violently in a, domestic abuse case. It's just really horrible to hear. He's like, don't tell me what it likes to be punched. I'm like, yeah, don't tell him what it's like to be fucking punched in the face. Yeah, this case is going better than the UK one for Team Johnny. I don't know why the UK one went so poorly. People were saying, I didn't watch it, but people were saying, so take this with a grain of salt, that the judge on that case seemed to have a clear biases against Depp. I don't know that for, like I said, I don't know that for a fact. I don't know that for a fact. I didn't watch. I don't know the ins and outs of that case. But what's nice about all this is, and when I say nice with a caveat, a big fat grain of salt, there's nothing nice about this case. This case is horrible. And what she did to him, and what she put him through, and what she did to his career are fucking disgusting. Just fucking hard to imagine a person could be so awful. But if there's one silver lining around this horrible, feces-colored cloud that is Amber Turd, it's that if my own little corner of the internet is anything, to judge the majority of the internet, seems like everybody under the sun is in Johnny Depp's case. 90% anyway, I'd guess. So even if he doesn't win, which he might not, to be honest, because the bar for what he has to prove and disprove, it's so high. He has to prove her guilt and his innocence simultaneously, and it's all surrounding that one Washington. It's about that singular Washington Post article, nothing outside of that. So it's the odds are so stacked against him. It's tremendous. Like it seems almost unattainable. And I've even heard some lawyers go on to say that for him to win it, the odds are astronomically against him, and they're nigh impossible, which sucks to hear. But I'd like to think at a minimum, he'll be able to walk away from this with his head held high, regardless of outcome, and with just about everyone under the sun knowing what a horrible, disgusting person Amber Heard is, and the lies and misdeeds and abuse that she put him through are now, like, he's finally had his day in court. He's finally let the facts out there. He's let her words speak for themselves. So yeah, like I said, at a minimum, he walks away with that. The public, millions and millions and millions of people around the world all know that he is in fact the victim of pretty horrendous abuse, both emotional and physical. So fuck yeah. So even though he might not win, even though it seems like there's a high probability he won't, at least he'll have that. It's a small win considering what he's had to pay. Which, in his words, when they asked what it cost him, he said, no less than everything. Which is pretty fucking sad to hear. It was in a different point of law that was harder to win. It was also in the midst of the hashtag me also. Hashtag believe her. What a stupid... Yeah, I remember the whole scene. I remember the believe women hashtag. Yeah, no, during that time, man, what a cold and calculated fucking move. Like, picking that time to strike, because you insert yourself amongst real victims, you know, victims of Weinsteins and Cosbys, like people who were at the whims and mercy of fucking monsters, and you toss your hat in with them, real victims. So of course people are, you know, and this is kind of the, you know, and this is kind of the scales correcting, right? For so many years, women specifically weren't believed, and people are now, we're so on board with women getting justice for some of the crimes that were that they were subjected to. The fact that this despicable human being would think, oh, this is the perfect time for me to add my own fake accusations to the mix. It's just fucking gross, man. God damn, dude. Hey, I'm curious. Any of you guys in the chat, any of you who are attracted to women, how attractive do you find Amber Heard? I'll be honest. Now, in the court proceedings, I think she's uglying herself up. You know, I think she's making herself look. You know, I think she's actively trying to make herself look, you know, not quite so glamorous. You know, trying to tone it down a little bit. You know, like, you can't show up to court, you know, dressed to the nines, makeup, you know. Makeup looking great. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. When I saw her on Top Gear a few years ago, very. You got a link to that? Maybe like a still from that Top Gear? I didn't even know she was on that show. She's a gearhead? I don't judge based on makeup, though. Now, I've only seen her on the red carpet before this, and that, you know, she's done all the way up. About as done up as you can be. And in movies, right? Which is, you know, not only do you have makeup and hair, you also have God knows what else. Just about every damn thing under the sun working for you. CGI, it's the most probably inaccurate way to look at a person, seeing them on the big screen. But yeah, so in that she's pretty attractive. But like I said, I think she's toning her attractiveness way down. Here. In the... Just a theory. She did a lap of the Top Gear test track. Sorry, no reason voice card. It's on YouTube. Alright, I can't watch this, especially with the sound on. I'll get struck. And then Top Gear will claim my video. Let's see, when was this? So this is 6 years ago. Yeah, she looks fucking hot, dude. My God. Now again, here, play this for you guys. She is done up. She's got all the makeup, fake lashes and all that, but hot damn. She's looking fine, man. Not a bad frame here. Right? Even the ones where her face looks a little weird, she still look hot. Right? Man, that's how you know, right? Like when you're attractive, even when you're making goofy ass fucking faces, like you're still attractive. Yeah. That's an attractive woman, man. Fuck me. Now Google no makeup. You Google no makeup. What's up, Corey? Corey, what are you laughing about, buddy? Amber Heard without makeup looks just like trash. Yo, she looks like a meth head here, dude. Alright, listen, you found the worst possible fucking photo of a human being. I'm gonna show this anyway because it's hilarious. You found like a crack rock smoking Heard photo. Like this, come on, man. Like there, it looks like she's missing, dude, it looks like she's missing teeth in that photo. Like that photo is outrageously bad. Like you'd almost, like I would almost think that that photo might even be doctored bad. Like somebody, you know, took some liberties with the old Photoshop in that one. It's like, oh, here, you know, let me give her some methy head, some blemishes, right? Like she might have been scratching at herself. Let me remove a few teeth. I still stand by my assessment earlier that her coochie is so powerful you'd assume there might be a fucking an infinity stone in that pussy. That coochie's gonna send you back in time. You're gonna lose days of your life in that Gucci. It's the only way. It's the only way that makes sense, man. For dude after dude, just knowing how bad shit this woman is, and just like, yeah, I'm in. It's like, you know, she shit on his bed. Listen, who am I to judge? Could you imagine? You know you might lose a finger. Worth it. Fuck it. I'll take a wine bottle to the face. Now I have never had the pleasure or displeasure of being with a lunatic. I have known men that have, and I'm going to be honest with you. It always seems as if the juice is not worth the squeeze, friends. I have yet to have a man, like when all is said and done, not in the moment, but the inevitable fallout, right? When this girl is like at your door at like 4 a.m. after you've broken up, like screaming and calling the cops, or like, you know, God forbid, and this has happened to friends of mine, coming at you with threats of false allegations. Yeah, when that happens, well then it's like, oh no, what was I thinking? But at the time, the more mentality of a girl, the better. What the what? Oh, the more mentally ill. Sounds like bipolar disorder. Hey, Tuok, you think Corey's ever banged a crazy broad like that? I bet he has. I bet he's put his dick in crazy. Corey? Shh, please. Corey's banged so many crazy bitches, they know him by name at the asylum. They're like, hey, Corey's back.
Ooh, look at the peepers. Corey's got eyes you could come on, you guys.
Hey, Corey, was that gal you were banging from like the Netherlands or Sweden or whatever, was she crazy? Corey, didn't you buy her like a PlayStation 3 and then she bailed? What's this stuff? It's been so long, Corey. What, was a fake vegetarian? That's so weird. That's such a weird fucking sense. That's a weird sentence. I bought her a new phone. Android or iPhone? I dated an Instagram vegan. I don't even... What does that mean? Does it mean like she would post her veganism on Instagram for validation? Like she ate meat with me, but not around her family. Oh, God. That's not great. Android. Alright, listen, Android phone. If it was an iPhone, I'd say, oof, Corey. Not that Androids are inexpensive, but you know. Like you could have dropped close to 2 G's on an iPhone. I mean, it was over. Oh my God, Corey. God damn it, man. Could have bought yourself a couple of PlayStation 5s with that money. Could have got yourself some new, a new GPU, baby. Corey's a mailman. He's most definitely not flush with cash. Yeah, you know those rich mailmen. Ballin'. Rolling in dough. I make decent money for my area. Yeah, but Corey, you make money where you can just toss away over G like that? No way. And not feel it? Because there's good money and there's good money. No, I felt that's what I mean, man. Remember when Corey got Maria that drawy? What drawy? Drawing? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that was just Corey being a nice guy. I didn't feel like. Yeah, but like that, Corey like was like supporting me there and being sweet. That didn't feel like that wasn't Corey buying. You know, one dude in this chat. I don't want to let it spill who. One dude bought her. Was definitely going the sugar daddy route with old Maria. I didn't talk about it at the time because, you know, I'm trying to blow up anybody's spot. But this person actually doesn't show up anymore, so I don't think it. And fucking Maria doesn't hang out here anymore either, so who gives a fuck? But no, there was definitely some dude who I didn't get the whole story, but somebody let it slip that this dude was buying Maria all kinds of clothes and stuff. And I was like, really? And I tried to pry further, like, but it was alluded that there was definitely an exchange going on, you know? Like it wasn't, you know, like, you know, some sugar daddy and baby relationships are, they're kind of like, they're like non-reciprocal. Like, it's kind of like you're a pay pig, you know? Like, the reciprocity is you get abused for your money. It wasn't that. It was the exchange kind. So like I think the person buying the clothing was getting like you know, getting to see you know, the product. I don't know for sure though. I don't know 100%, but that was what my gut was telling me. Sometimes a man just wants to see those lips stretch. Exactly, too, Oak. Which, hey, listen. You know, at the end of the day, not my bag, not something I've done. But hey, if you've got the disposable income, man, you want to see some titty, and all it's going to cost you is just some pieces from Shein or something. Well then, c'est la vie. But yes, no, that is not what Corey Chan was doing over there. I'm rich in Brazil and I don't do that. Like I said, man, if you're making a good living, like a good one, where you could lose $1,000 and not feel it kind of living, where you're living well below your means and you just got all this disposable income and you don't give a shit, and you want to see some girl's tits but you don't want to you don't even want to pretend that you like her. You're just like, I want to see your tits. How much is that going to cost me to see you fucking topless? That's how you want to roll? Fuck it, man. Go nuts, man. I wouldn't do it. But yeah, if that's how you want to, like, if that's how you want to spend your money. Corey is rich in South America. Tricking is weird. You mean like skateboard tricks? They should just legalize prostitute. They should. Honestly, they should. 100%. Same thing with, you know, like same thing with weed and all that. One of the upsides to it being legalized is it just becomes safer overall. You cut the legs out of people who would do ill towards, you know, unfortunately, women and men who find themselves in a position where they're doing that. Buying things for women is courtship. Now, courtship is one thing, because honestly, I would say, do not do that if you're courting somebody, because then that's a terrible precedent for your relationship, in my opinion. Starting it off in a transactional way. But if you, like I said, man, if you got money, you're just looking to see fucking tits. Who gives a shit? I'm cool with prostitute, but buying a bag to get a blowy. Oh, that's yeah.
Simping isn't bad. Simping is
that's weird, man.
shit.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, baby, I'm gonna take you to the finest shop, but you know, afterwards, give me that BJ, give me that hand job. I want a hand job in the movie theater. Now here, let's buy you a pretty dress. Yeah, no, that's fucked, dude. I wouldn't, dude. I would not feel good about that. But then again, when you got those older guys, right? The guys who are just like, but they're in their 60s and they're banging girls in their 20s and their relationship is purely transactional. Like it's like, you see them on the yacht and you see them in Dubai or United Arab Emirates and you're like, hold on, bitch. You work as a hostess in a nightclub. How the fuck are you on a mega yacht in Saudi Arabia or wherever the fuck, you know? You know what I mean? You know, like how the fuck did you get to Dubai on a like waitress's salary or a part-time model salary? I'd pipe a cougar to get on a mega yacht. Bitch, you broke. Who's funding that trip, right? Yeah, you see him with a couple of, you know, I know. But you know, you see him there and they're taking selfies with a couple other bimbos on the very you know, the front of the boat. I'm like, flip that camera around, baby. Do the fucking flipped camera view. I want to see who's on that boat with you. Nikki Chicky, what's up, baby? I woke up like an hour ago. What the hell time is it by you? .4 a.m. Shit. In Korea/Japan, there are male versions of hostess bars. Oh, really? See, I knew about the ladies that do the... I know in Japan, there are above board, like, hostess areas, and then there's, like, below board hostess areas, where, like, there are some clubs you go to in Japan, and the ladies are around, and it's almost like high-end, like, it's like high-end Hooters almost, but classy. It's classy. You know, like, you play these ladies, and they come over to your table, and they chat with you, and nothing really happens. They're just there. But then there's like the seedy versions where what happens is exactly what you think happens. Oh, and by the way, in those clubs, no whitey. No whitey, or better yet, no non-Japanese allowed in there. I only know this because a friend of mine tried to get in. And they told me to get the fuck lost so fast. Books of flight to Japan. Rich women like chubby men in Japan. Why? What the hell is that about? Like a sumo type? A sumo wrestler? Like overweight but not obese. Hey Yoji, you think if you went to Japan looking for poontang, you think it'd work? You think you'd find yourself a Japanese lady over there? I've read it's related to some mommy issues. Oh boy. They want a healthy boy to take care of? Ugh. I might find some Japanese women, but with so many women, it shouldn't be an issue. Is the ratio way more Japanese women to men in Japan? Definitely better odds than here. Yoji is going to go to Japan specifically looking for coochie reparations for 1910. Yoji's going to say, and this was the fucking occupation. This is for the fucking occupation. He's going to come right in their face. Japan should be an all-you-can-fuck buffet from what I've seen these articles about herbivore men. It is interesting that it seems like they're, according to every article that I've seen, it seems like the young Japanese people, they're not getting married, they're not having kids, and some are saying that they're not banging either, at all, anybody. No, there is probably 50-50, but overall, having more Asian women ups the odds. Dude, I told you, man, I'm on TikTok, and Yoji, I'm telling you, man, as the years go by, as far as white women in this country wanting to bang Asian dudes, it's on the rise, man. It's just up and up and up and up and up. And I wouldn't know this if it wasn't for Instagram and TikTok. Seeing what like the 20-something-year-old retards on social media, the gals are doing. Dude, some of them are fiending over BTS and other K-pop bands, just like hungry for that Korean schlong. And it's like never in my fucking life have I seen white women this thirsty for the fucking kimchi. Although Yoj, I gotta be honest, I think you may have aged out because the demographics are all screwed up, man. It's mostly younger ladies who are into that kind of thing. I'm just getting old, past my expiration date before Asian guys becoming a thing is more common. Yeah, see? But Yoji, for your younger countrymen, brighter days ahead, much brighter. You'd hardly believe my age if you saw me. I believe it, man. Okay. All right, I'm 3.5 hours in. My feet are tired. I am going to do some more work offline, then work on some TikTok videos or Instagram videos, YouTube videos, all that kind of stuff. I don't believe Michael's age. Yeah, no, man. I'm getting to the later part of my 30s, baby. It's not looking good. Time keeps marching on and on and on and on and on and on. Yes, as the future is receding and the past is growing grosser and grosser, larger and larger. Avoid Korean guys from Korea. The country is misogynist as fuck. Women should look for Asians in the US. Agreed. Well said. Great note to end. You look like a strong 28. Ooh. Thank you for that, Bands. I will catch y'all tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Good night, Yoji. Good night, Bandsy. Thank you all for hanging out. Brax, Whiteboardist, Asparagus, thank you guys for the tip. Thank you for tipping your bartender. Thank you, my patrons and everybody else. Good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.